100.
We're all looking forward to getting together again at EKKA, where country meets city. EKKA 2022, where we all get together again. Get tickets online now.
Greetings, everybody, and welcome to another day here at the XP. I want to say pavilion because it always sounds nice, but I'm not sure that's what we can necessarily describe this area. But no, welcome back to XP Esports for the SEQ University Open. This is an exhibition series of games between three Queensland universities, the University of Queensland, Griffith, as well as QUT, all will be playing some League of Legends. And because it's League of Legends, we have to have a special guest for the first game. Professional player, why not be friends? All the way from New Zealand, man. It's an honor to be casting with you.
Yeah, no, it's looking forward to doing this with you today, but don't let exhibition fool you at all. You know, these university teams are filled with some pretty decent players, and they're definitely looking to prove themselves before any major tournaments, you know, in the upcoming years.
I mean, we even have some players on a couple of these teams that have been looking to kind of break through into that professional scene or have done so already. Even in this very first matchup, this Griffith lineup looks absolutely stacked to me. You have Toppy playing in the top lane, Why Love You in the jungle, HSJ in mid, Miniman 1000 on support, and Braza on support, Miniman on bot. Toppy is the big one, though, because Toppy is a pro player. I'm sure someone who you've run into quite a bit. I feel like he's almost the biggest threat here today.
Yeah, I think Toppy is definitely someone who can deserve some respect on their name. He's obviously known for a Gnar, which we don't see picked or banned in this first game. But we do see Braza copping a bit of a target ban with the Bard.
Yeah.
Again, some of these names maybe you don't know from solo queue or many players don't know, but Braza is a bit of a Bard enthusiast, so it's quite funny to see that little chime man banned away from him.
Yeah, a bit unfortunate there. Meanwhile, on the UQ side, we do have HD Times in the top lane, Takai in jungle, FTR in mid, Soy in bot, and Kane on support. For this side, it's FTR and Soy, who I think has made an impact in InterVarsity games in the past. They're going to be the two I'm going to be looking out for. However, more Soy, I feel like, in this game, because when we take a look at UQ's team composition as a whole, whenever you see that Jinx, it's going to be one of the more focal points of a comp.
No, without a doubt, you know. I don't know the names, honestly, on the UQ side, but just looking at champions alone, this Vladimir and Jinx really need to pop off if they want to find themselves winning this game. I think Griffith has a much more well-rounded comp where they have many different carry angles, you know, through this poke Corki, through this kind of hyper-scaling Sivir. You know, she gets that mid-game spike, clears waves ridiculously fast, and she just powers team fights. Naturally, you have that Gwen, which is a super good threat into this tanky Ornn.
Yeah.
So I definitely do find myself favoring Griffith's comp a bit, but like you said, if FTR and Sui are going to put up a show, then they've definitely got a chance.
Yeah, they're going to be the ones I'm looking out for. I have to mirror what you're saying in a lot of ways in that regards, where I'm leaning towards this Griffith team composition. I do worry perhaps a little bit in an extended team fight if the Sivir would realistically be able to get enough damage throughout to kind of compete with Soy. But from what I think we were talking about before coming into this one, there's a very good chance that this game might not even get to that hyper late game phase where we would see that proper 5-on-5.
Yeah, I mean, what I was saying earlier is that the UQ lacks a bit of this early power, right? They have this Jarvan, I guess, and maybe you can consider Braum with this passive, you know, a bit of a tool in that respect. But those are their only real kind of tools throughout this early to mid game to really power them through those fights. Obviously, if Jinx ever gets a pop off and gets excited and, you know, gets a pentakill, that always helps. But if you look over at Griffith, you do have this kind of consistent damage. People don't understand. Tahm Kench, while being in support, has outrageous damage. He can carry those fights in his own respect, you know?
Isn't that why he's played top? Like, isn't that one of the
I mean,
yeah.
There are some challenger one-tricks in different regions playing that champion top lane, and it is terrifying. Yeah, so you have these options for Griffith through these early game skirmishes. So you really do have to be careful if you are taking these early fights as UQ, as you do not want to, you know, cull your chances of winning before you get to the stage where you can really start doing some damage.
Yeah, I think it's going to be an exciting matchup either way. Perhaps Griffith has that early advantage, but we'll see whether or not they'll be able to execute it while on stage. We will be throwing to a spectator delay, though, right about now, so we'll take a quick break. But when we come back, we will be on Summoner's Rift for our first game of the afternoon.
Looking forward to it.
All right, straight into Summoner's Rift and kind of straight into the action already. There was a line of scrimmage set up by the University of Queensland. Griffith, however, was able to break through. They got a little bit of a cheeky invade, but at the end of the day, not able to find too much for it. Why not? Let's start talking jungles right now, because I know that's your main role. It's what I play as well. And considering how important Takai is going to be for the UQ side, what sort of pathing are we going to be expecting to see from this J4?
Yeah, so I mean, I think Griffith already have a pretty good understanding. You know, this Jarvan needs to get on the map and do some, do some shenanigans. Make sure to spoil any poppy ganks that he can. And you can already see this vision being put into the UQ's jungle with that little blue trinket ward over the wall into the red buff. They're going to be looking to track him. Jarvan can honestly do a lot of different paths. He can do these, shorter 3 camps, even, level 2 ganking. Jarvan definitely can also full clear. The champion actually has a relatively strong full clear when practiced. So we'll definitely look to see what Takai does. He does have these options to gank these immobile lanes with the Corki and the Sivir. Sivir's spell shield can always complicate it a bit. And Corki positioning can always change it up. We can see mid lane trading quite a bit, fighting for that priority.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what I would imagine is going to be happening. I feel like HSA should start to get a solid lane advantage, I feel like, in that mid lane, just because of Vladimir with that weaker early levels compared to the Corki, who should be able to get that harass. And it'll get worse probably from level 6 to 11. Which is why, in theory, we'd like to see a bit of jungle pressure maybe to help alleviate FTR. Instead, though, we're seeing Why Love You come down to the bot lane. Tries to get the pin onto Soy, who was just out of range. Good blocking from Kane as well, protects some damage. Not all of it with that knock-up from Braza. However, it's not enough for first blood.
That Tahm Kench W landing is just absolutely key. I think if we saw an early Jinx heal, maybe the movement speed would have been enough to dodge out on it, but she will be getting sent back to base. Luckily, not with First Blood, but it might hurt her laning quite a bit and allow the Sivir to get a really nice recall.
It's also,
which she isn't.
Yeah, it's also worth noting too that the Flash got burned as well in that exchange instead of the heal. So arguably, that's the more important summoner that was taken away.
No, for sure. A regank here, if NECC lands, that will spell death for the Jinx and a really nice early game for Griffith. Although, this does hurt Poppy's pathing. She takes 2 camps and heads bot lane. Now she's taking her 3rd. She will be able to eat away this the Scuttle Crab. But if we look at Takai's path in this game, he decided to go for this the initial kind of 3 camp down, had to reevaluate and readjust his pathing. So he is a bit slower. He didn't get too much compensation. So this is definitely a pretty strong lead for Griffith in this early game. This is exactly how they're happy, to see it go.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely feel pretty strong when you're able to put the Jinx back, who you could probably recognize as being that larger threat right now. And at this stage, if I'm looking at this Griffith side, knowing that your bot lane probably has that lane advantage, I'm thinking where can we sort of move that advantage elsewhere as well. Still haven't seen Why Love You sort of reset in comparison to Takai, who has been able to reset, get a few more items on that J4, has been kind of leading in that jungle pressure, but we haven't been seeing them place it anywhere yet. And I do feel like Why Love You has been doing a decent job tracking. That's why they're on the top side of the map right now. And we'll be looking for a play on HD Times again to just avoids getting pinned against the wall. Takai is in the area should we see a re-engage, but HD Times is healthy enough that they can protect themselves.
These kind of ganks are more just ganks for the sake of ganks, which is pretty rough to see. Obviously, Poppy doesn't need to have too high economy. She doesn't need all these camps, all this gold. She's pretty fine staying on this map and kind of dominating and controlling these areas to kind of proactively deny these ganks from Takai. We do see him coming around here for something on top lane. I'm not sure if they have lethal damage, but I think Toppy might have to pop Ghost.
Yeah.
But we will see.
I'm watching that Ghost, and it's used right away. Like, Toppy was not messing around, drops the Ghost, is able to walk to safety. Meanwhile, down in the bot side, it's another knock-up from Braza, this time onto Kane. Miniman, though, kind of holds back and throwing some of those autos, waiting for the shield to drop, and didn't commit to that fight. Would rather just, let Braza deal with it on that Tahm Kench and the damage you were talking about before, doing more than enough to keep Kane zoned away.
Regardless of not finding a kill there, that's a very good trade for them. And if they're able to keep finding these, Braza's able to keep chatting these waves, looking for these Qs, landing occasional Ws. This is such a big, big win for the bot lane of Griffith. They're able to get this tower damage. They're able to keep pushing these waves, as Sivir's wave clear is just absolutely disgusting.
Yeah, and it's really doing a good job on keeping Soya pinned down, and then when you get rid of that front line of Kane, even just by taking down the health, essentially, you're making Braum not useless as much, but definitely a lot harder to be as effective as you would like to see. And this is going to become more and more relevant with the Dragon now spawning onto the map. It will be a Hextech Drake. That will be the first fight that we could see down there on the bot side, and even if we're just looking at sort of like the early gold, it might look even when we go team for team, but when we're looking at comparing, the players who would be on that bot side, we have about a 400k advantage for Miniman. That's the equivalency of a longsword, which is about 10 damage for auto, and would be more than enough to possibly turn the tide in favor of Miniman and co for Griffith. So I'm going to be expecting this blue side to potentially be the first team to make a play on that Drake.
Yeah, I think another way to also look at it when it comes to Dragon is just take a look at the priorities, right? It's going to be pretty hard for UQ to try and make a move, in this bottom river when their bot lane is always under the tower farming. You're going to have the Sivir and this Tahm Kench able to move and hit this Dragon, as we see now. And these Dragons are a lot tankier now, post the patch changes. But they also give a much nicer bounty as well. This is going to be some cooldown reduction and some attack speed for Griffith, and this is impactful. This helps when it comes to pushing waves, when it comes to CSing. This cooldown reduction is actually essential on this Corki with this poke build. You can see he has the first strike. He's likely going to opt into this this AP kind of AoE rocket build, which we see being very popular in the past year. And all of this cooldown reduction really, really contributes to how oppressive those rockets can be.
I'm very worried at this stage, like the later we get, what sort of tools UQ is going to have to sort of protect that back line, because between Corki's rockets and the bouncing blades that are going to be coming from Miniman as well, there's a lot of ways for Griffith to realistically attack that back line, and it's putting more and more pressure on Kane, who, as we saw before, definitely struggled through this early phase, and I feel as if that's going to have to be critical. That said, another sort of critical play could be happening on the top side right now. Takai stalking Toppy from that bush, but in the end, I think there's too many minions and decides against trying to force an issue.
Yeah, I mean, I think another kind of pretty consistent issue I've seen with these junglers is not actually identifying whether or not they're able to find a good gank. They're going to sit there and they're going to look for a gank. The Poppy gank in top lane earlier is a perfect example. They're not actually able to find these kills. Even if the gank is, successful or they land their CC, I think Toppy can even look to 1v2 if Takai decides to EQ in. It's a level 5 Jarvan, small health bar. Toppy has the ultimate with the 1000 cuts passive. Toppy will just absolutely shred through you. You have to be very, careful and discerning when you're choosing these ganks for that exact reason.
Well, this could get a little interesting. Rift Herald started upon by Griffith, yet UQ is looking to possibly contest this one. Call of the Forest God does get dropped, knocks up only Toppy, as Herald even wants to get in on HD times. It was a pile-on, and it will be first blood going to the Gwen. Kane into Kane for a potential re-engage, will not find it, and Griffith get a commanding lead.
UQ is a bit just, too weak, too slow. They don't have the rotations coming through. They really aren't as strong as they may think they are. And I don't think HD Times was paying too much attention to his screen, as Toppy was able to get that Q on him before he even had a chance to respond. Ultimate, another thing to mention as well is the Auto Ultimate's powers cut a lot in this game. There's decent mobility out of Griffith, with obviously you've got Gwen E, you have the Valkyrie of Corki. You also have the ability to eat a target with Tahm Kench to peel them away from that Ornn ultimate, the Ornn Horn. You even have Poppy W, which can prevent the Ornn from even dashing in order to hit his hit the Horn. Sivir Spell Shield, I think it's going to be very hard to find strong value for this Ornn ultimate, or maybe in the mid to late game it'll just be used as a tool to actually claim that Sivir Spell Shield.
I don't mean as well to jump on to the UQ that was an odd decision train, but it was unique to me that the Call of the Forge God was called at the exact moment that FTR recalled from the mid lane. So no matter what, they were always going to be a member down in that situation.
Yeah,
so I kind of feel
definitely
like
a bit of miscommunication.
Yeah, that was sort of a weird one. And HD Times, I almost feel like panic ultied when they realized they were surrounded on that play, and the end result, is missing that key engage, that key ability, losing out on the Herald, losing out on more advantages. A chance for revenge, though, perhaps on the bot side. Takai, once again, trying to stalk their prey. I'm going to be curious if they commit to this one, especially with Why Love You making their way down there as well.
I mean, you also have all summoners on the bot lane. You know, you have this Tahm Kench E. I really do not see this going well. Takai decides to EQ forward
into
here.
Braza, into that Tahm Kench, who just tanks it and is perfectly fine. And now it's going to Abyssal Voyage right into Takai. That's one down. A second will fall as well. And Soy left standing on their own, some lonesome against 3 members from Griffith.
Really lovely Abyssal Voyage placement there from Braza. That was an absolutely gorgeous knock-up on 2. And that's when you have the Sivir DPS coming through. You have this lethal tempo. You have these long swords, this AD in his inventory. He will just absolutely slam you. And with that W and those bouncing blades, it really just starts to shred you. And as this game goes later and later, you can see all this gold right now going onto the Sivir from these plates. This Sivir is just going to be absolutely decimating the entire side of UQ.
Emo playing on HSJ. Braza, though, was able to rotate towards the mid lane, makes a little bit of the save. That said, though, yeah, looking at the gold differential right now, nearly 1.5k in favor of the Sivir, who was able to back. Haven't even finished that call yet, but does have themselves a Kraken Slayer, and that is just going to not only contribute to that wave clear, but just continue to harass Soy as they try to even farm at this stage. I feel as if you're UQ, you have to find ways almost to get Soy out of that bot lane, perhaps into that mid lane, just to be able to get some CS where they won't get as harassed. Yet, even if you wind up in the mid lane, though, already Miniman is there.
Yeah, he's already there. He's already ahead of the curve. Look at him push this wave. He's going to pop his W. Even missed his Q on majority of the creeps. Doesn't matter. Definitely not. Cull has been cashed in further and further ahead. And in these kind of games, where you have these low economy junglers such as Jarvan and Poppy, the ADC that's able to stay ahead of tempo and be ahead of the curve, it just grows more and more.
As we are watching Top E drop some needlework, get a flash out of HD Times, and that's going to be more plates and more advantages going over to Griffith, not to mention that Ocean Drake that they were just able to pick up. HD Times sticking around, maybe trying to buy time for a Takai roam, but on that low health, yeah, you don't really want to stay with that. To go back to your previous point, though, about like the low econ junglers and trying to get your AD carries ahead on tempo, all I'm getting from that right now is you're telling me I shouldn't be upset when my bot laner starts farming my Gromp or Krugs at like the 8-minute mark.
That's the exact point I was about to get into before we were rudely interrupted by Toppy trying to solo bowler the Ornn. As we do see FTR getting a little bit lower, we had to see Corki Package, get timed out at the end there.
Poppy.
And we didn't really talk too much about that.
In a bit of trouble. Calling the Force God follow-up as well, and Takai is going to pick up that kill. And finally, UQ gets some points on the board, as FTR actually could be in a bit of trouble right here, just standing in the chain gun of HSJ. It didn't do as much damage as we would like to see, but a couple advantages perhaps going UQ's favor.
I mean, FTR doesn't really care about these trades too much. He has enough cooldown reduction at this point where he's able to just spam the Q on the waves and heal up and really not be too bothered by the amount of damage he takes. We saw earlier in the mid lane trades where FTR would trade down a little bit, he'd be maybe 100 health lower, but he's able to sustain. And it's only going to get more oppressive as the game goes on. He'll only be able to heal more. But on the counterpoint, you have this Corki whose rockets are only going to be gaining in damage, And maybe when it comes to these 30-minute fights, if we get that far, one rocket's going to be taking over half your health bar.
I want to briefly take a step back, though, and talk a bit more about like the jungling and the ideas of when to start passing, jungle farms over to your bot laners in situations like this. Because, look, I don't know, maybe it's the fact that I like to play Nocturne a lot and I just am greedy. I'm a selfish, greedy jungler, but when it's pre-10 minutes, I get annoyed.
Yeah, there's definitely a difference between playing these champions like Nocturne. I mean, we just keep getting interrupted by this.
Yeah, I'm not going to let him. I'm not going to let him. Keep going. I need to learn how to jungle correctly.
Okay, here we are. There's definitely a difference between these Karthus champions and these Nocturne champions or Graves, where these champions are resource demanding and do have a pretty strong clear speed.
Oh my goodness, Cataclysm and Flag and Drag to jump on Why Love You. I guess we have to let them interrupt for now. But they don't even have the decency to get the kill.
Is the kingpin.
Yeah,
I mean, look at this. This is a second Herald fight. You see this Corki coming in, throwing out these rockets.
Oh.
Might even look for a bit of a QR. We'll get a damage
has
test.
The package as well on HSJ, I believe, so we could be seeing a big play. Here comes the call of the Fort God. It only gets Braza, who drops the Grey Shield to Kai, going straight in, was able to find Why Love You with the help of Soy, but on the backline, Toppy is absolutely shredding the likes of UQ. A triple kill for the Gwen. The fight once again won by Griffith, and the Rift Herald is their reward.
There was no package for HSJ, unfortunately, but it did not make a difference, as when Toppy runs into the backline, pops down his W, does not take much damage from outside that circle, while dealing so much damage himself. Beautiful ultimate positioning. That needlework, penetrating 2 or 3 members, heals him so much, does so much damage. And just, you can definitely see why Toppy decided to opt for this Gwen as opposed to his usual Gnar. I feel like you're able to 1v9 in those situations, so much better. But we do see
FDR's
FDR
got
a solo
this.
kill.
You have to have this, FDR. Come on, there you go, over the wall, picks it up.
What was that from Corky? HSJ. I'm not sure who he thought he was juking, but you cannot juke an AoE spell when you're still inside that area. It's a little bit rough. It was desperate. Desperate times call for desperate measures, and maybe if they actually had the package, we would have been able to see something. Speaking of which, good. Stand United by Why Love You. You mentioned that one before, just being able to shut down some of that orange mobility, so you get to see it a bit in action. We're seeing these flash moments of brilliance, I feel like, coming from the UQ side, particularly through FDR on this mid lane Vladimir. However, as a whole, it still feels like Griffith has just been doing a better job controlling the tempo of this game. Yeah, he's definitely a confident on his pick. I think FTR, from what I've seen, he knows what he wants, right? He knows he wants these waves of farm. He knows he needs to take good recalls. We saw that earlier with the miscommunication, and he recalled at the first Herald. He knows that as a Vladimir, he shouldn't fight that, He should just be playing on his waves, scaling up a little bit, and getting to the point where Griffith have to respect him as a pick. They have to respect his champion, and they aren't able to move forward.
Well, we'll see how this one will play out at the moment, because I don't think UQ wants Griffith to play forward into that Dragon Pit. They're going to try and zone them away. As this is happening, though, keep your eyes on Toppy, who is making plays on that top side, trying to shove it in. Good flash from Miniman, avoiding the Cataclysm. Spell shields the call the Forge God, but those are 2 key abilities gone. When Toppy has gone to the fight, though, is able to teleport in behind and go straight into the 5 members of UQ, and that's going to cause them to panic, cause them to separate, and going in one at a time sees Takai fall first. Soy gets found out by HSJ, and that is maybe 2 big kills, 2 big plays. Herald crashes into the mid tower, and this is Griffith starting to break open the base.
0 health bars on the side of UQ, just getting absolutely, I don't even want to say, like, I have to censor my language, but just not having a good time against this Griffith lineup.
They're getting rinsed.
That Poppy ultimate, they are getting rinsed. That's a good word. That Poppy ultimate of the on FTR, knocking him all the way back directly where Toppy's teleporting. He comes out of the teleport, jumps directly onto the Vladimir, and when the Vladimir's chunked that low, he doesn't have any options. He doesn't have the ability to look for an ultimate forward or ghost forward or do any of his damage. He has to just run and hope he lives, and somehow he did manage to survive. But this does lead Griffith to being on Soul Point, and Mountain Dragon and Mountain Soul, while it might not seem very strong, a bit of resistance is a small shield, I would say it's one of the most impactful dragons in the game. I think that, Air Soul, I think that Mountain Soul, these are just so disgusting to verse. Having that move speed on, with Cloud Soul, but having that tankiness and that extra health bar you have to get through, it makes it so hard to come back.
I love hearing this from you, because I've gotten into arguments all the time with other casters about which are like the best Dragon Souls, and I always put Mountain right on up there with the other one that I absolutely love, being Cloud. And the fact that you name dropped both of those, just, I feel a little vindicated right now. And I'm also, while I'm feeling good, I just want to do something real quick as they back. The reason, I am defending myself for no reason. Oh no, I can't really control that well. That Corky, this skin looks like it constantly has the package. The 4 blasts on the back. Yeah. I was baited. That is bait.
The burners, I can understand that. No, you have to look for when he's elevated and when he's very fast. The speed is the gap. But we do see some itemization completions that are pretty notable, right? Toppy had his 2-item spike. Besides that, everyone has a color in this game.
Why Love You doesn't care about itemization. I Love You just wants to fight right now. I'm sorry.
No,
he's just going in 1v5. It really doesn't like itemization. Why not? I don't know what to tell you. You start talking itemization, just wants to run it in. Braza and
like
Miniman, though, are looking to 2v5, and Miniman is doing a fair bit of damage. No longer has that front line. Still tries to go one-on-one with Soy, but won't be able to pull that off. And I feel like That was very greedy from the Griffith side, although we might not be done yet. Toppy and HSJ are looking to clean up. There's your package right onto the sanguine pool of FTR. The rocket misses, but with that exhaust, they secured the kill.
HSJ just beaming. He's missing every single rocket intentionally. It's to show that he does not need it. He does not need the rockets. We see a little two-man Baron. Obviously, While Our View's running towards it, but health bars were too low in UQ to really contest it immediately. Maybe they're not expecting it. We do see them all running towards this area. This is a really interesting choice, you know?
This is...
just to rush this Baron down immediately.
I mean, Super Mega Death Rocket is on cooldown, right? So they should be able to get it. Takai could go for a steal, but is stopped by the Stand United. And once again, Why Love You is not done yet. Right over the wall into Takai's face. They won't be able to find the fight, but it is Baron going over to Griffith.
I could be wrong, but is Stand United... Stand United is Shin Ultimate, right? I think Steadfast
Presence, that's right. Yeah, you are correct.
Yeah. Okay, I heard it twice.
Yeah,
making sure. I was going to say it's a bit funny to have a Shen in this game, but...
Thomas Shen's too busy on Reddit, apparently, so...
No, he is.
Yeah, that's something.
Locked in jail.
It's early. Like, I'm going to be real. For League of Legends players, we're not used to playing games or calling games before noon.
Yeah, it's a tiring lifestyle, sleeping at 5 a.m.
Yeah.
We do have Toppy looking for a Demonic Embrace third, which will really bolster his tankiness. It'll allow him to shred through these side laners even harder. This Vladimir obviously has a lot of health just from the passive alone, converting that ability power into that health bar. Toppy's pressuring these side towers, and once again, these side towers are important. There's so much gold, You can see right there, 233 across the board for everyone around. It splits into so much value and so much gold, and they're just going to extend their lead. You see 3 items now on the Sivir, full item ahead of this Jinx. It was a bit unfortunate when she died mid lane earlier. She had her tempo stacked, she was DPSing, but like you said, the front line had fallen, and she wasn't able to do it as freely as she could usually. But in this next fight, if the Sivir is able to hit, even if it's by proxy through the front line, even if it's just with those W auto attacks, you will see this damage adding up incredibly fast.
Yeah, I'm actually worried too, because if UQ loses one more team fight, more likely than not, that's going to be the game, and they could be forced into said fight because that Mountain Soul that we were talking about before is going to be spawning in less than a minute. Toppy is going to be the one who tries to press the issue. Takai dives to the back line, but the rest of UQ is just zoned away by their own Cataclysm, as Takai, desperate to make the play, does shut down the front line, but Sivir on that back line was just doing too much. Auto after auto shreds the entirety of UQ, and I think that's going to be all she wrote. Griffith now, with 2 exposed inhibitors, can just march right into the base.
This is exactly what we were talking about, honestly. The Sivir comes into the fight, pulls up, and just absolutely has her way. She just destroys health bars. But before that, just before that, we were seeing a little bit of hope for UQ. We had a pretty nice engage, pretty big Jarvan ultimate, a pretty nice Braum Arlay on top of it. Even the Ornn ulti came through, but it's just not enough. If the health bars are still standing at the end of that, they really just don't have any more go buttons if you aren't seeing that Jinx pop off. So at the end of that, we definitely see a pretty dominating performance from Griffith. Aside from a bit of a odd int from the Poppy, I think this was a pretty convincing game.
What can I say? I mean, it was very convincing, and you have to remember too, and I'm not saying this to throw shade on Why Love You, but Why Love You is the sub of Griffith. So that was their backup player, and they're just using to get a bit of time before they get going. Usually it's Easy Smurf who plays on the jungle for this team. So this.
So you're telling me that they're even better roster.
Yes.
They have an even better. They have an A team.
Yeah, exactly. They're still powering up. Like Easy Smurf just wanted some more time to keep training and keep getting ready. So Griffith is easily setting themselves up as the favorites for this event. We still do have to see what QUT is going to be able to bring, and that is going to be our next matchup, if I am not mistaken. I just need to see, because...
I mean, speaking about training, honestly, I'm looking at the camera right now, and you look like you're in a bit of a Pokemon trainer Max Formal outfit right now.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm always...
Honestly.
It's the hat, man. It makes me ready to go.
It's definitely the hat.
Definitely. Hey, you know what? Now I can plug XP hats, right? You know, if you like these hats, everyone's running around. They are for sale. You can go ahead and buy them.
No, honestly, I didn't even know that. They look pretty good.
Yeah, they're pretty sweet.
You know?
And there's several colors as well. But yeah, I went for the red and white. I don't know why, because I had like the white shirt. It was like matched at the time.
I'm a bit of a purple guy myself. You can see by my blanket too. I'm definitely a purple fan.
Royalty.
It is. It's a nice color.
Which does make sense. Look, speaking of royalty, this is the EKKA. This is the Royal Show. So we're going to be taking a break here. And if you're in the audience, feel free to go have a look around, get yourself some food, listen to the music out there in Pavilion. But do make sure to come back in time for our second game. We're going to have more League of Legends here. Again, big thank you to Why Not for joining us. It was super sweet to cast with you. And I think we're going to be doing more in the future.
Thank you for having me. No, I'd love to.
We're all looking forward to getting together again at EKKA, where country meets city. EKKA 2022, where we all get together again. Get tickets online now.
Game 1 is in the books, and it was Griffith beating the University of Queensland, which means we have to get someone from UQ back here on the desk. I am joined by Sean right now.
That is...
Are you like the team captain, the team manager? What exactly is your role there with UQ?
So I'm the Div 2 coach responsible for our loss versus QUT Div 2 yesterday. So I'm here to bring back a little bit of the UQ bias that Marley brought with her yesterday to the cast, and I appreciated that a lot because we definitely needed that series. Couldn't carry us over, unfortunately, but see how we go today.
Well,
Still have another couple of games.
We'll see how we go. I think you're going to have to hold on to that UQ bias for a little bit, though, because we're about to see Griffith taking on QUT, which is going to be an interesting matchup. Griffith will be on that blue side. QUT will be in red. Griffith has already won one game. If they win this one, they advance to that final. If QUT gets the win right here, then things can get a little bit messy.
A little bit spicy.
Perhaps, and we'll see how that happens. Now, again, Pro Draft was done before. The players are just kind of reselecting their champions right now. Everyone's just sort of picking for roles. And one of the interesting ones that we saw coming into this was where exactly was this Amumu going to go? Was it going to be, the Brazza surprise Amumu? Was it going to be going in the jungle? Looks like it's going in the jungle here.
Yeah, so blue side third pick Amumu as the flex pick, which is typically very good on blue side, having flex picks up your back pocket. So the Amumu flex pick with the Brazza, he picks out a lot of different unconventional picks in the support there. And having that Amumu flex pick means that they weren't really sure. They went with the Renata blind, which is quite good into dive, good into the Camille, good into the Amumu. And so what blue side have done here is answered with Vayne Zealing, which has quite a bit of range, can look to sort of play at a distance from that bot lane. But
Can Vayne play at a distance? Because I see Vayne and I see Jinx. I feel like the distance war would be won by the Jinx Rockets.
Yeah, so Zillion has a bit of range to ride poke and, a little bit of range in that lane. But yeah, for sure, the Vayne is definitely short range. And also will have conceding basically a lot of pry because the Jinx pretty much should have pry in most of their lanes. So yeah, we'll have to see how that bot lane goes there. But a lot of scaling in this game in general. We see blue side with pretty much every single pick is looking to scale into oblivion, whereas red side has a lot more agency throughout the game. We have Jinx that has a lot of scaling, but we also have Syndra, very good in the early game. Trundle has a little bit of agency, as well as Na will be chilling in that top lane for most part of the early game there.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting game for sure. I just worry a little bit for the QUT side if they have enough agency in that early mid game to prevent Griffith from scaling to that late game, especially considering Griffith has brought back Easy Smurf into the jungle. The top E we know can accelerate a game in the top lane just by the sheer amount of pressure that they have. And I see Griffith, and I agree with you, yes, their late game scaling, but their late game might come a little bit sooner than some of the other teams right here. QUT is going to have to be aggressive, but I feel like with some of the champions that they have, you said before, Kip Kangaroo is going to want to stay in lane. Chirp on the Syndra, not really known for the roams as much. Even Jinx needs that scaling to get going. How can they actually emphasize that early game initiation that they're going to need in this situation? Yeah,
well, a lot of it will come from the mid jungle, I think, of QUT here. But Azir typically has pretty good prio, so we'll have to see whether Syndra can bully out the Azir and sort of gain prio and control over the map early on. But we also do see Jinx, if she's able to maintain bot prio, that gives them a lot of agency to play around these dragons and sort of dragon stack their way to accelerate this game. So if they can get the soul this game, that will really push the game and look to prevent Griffith from scaling and creating what is basically an Exodia draft in the late game. So.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see, can Griffith get to that late game? Will they even need to? I can also see a world where the snowball starts rolling, and then that can become disastrous. But the snowball can go either way, and, well, there's no Nunu, so we won't focus on that.
That is true, no Disco Nunu. Although HD Times and UQ, he's a fan of Disco Nunu, so might see it next game.
Oh, boy, that would be fun. You know what? I'd be excited to see that.
Yeah.
I think we should introduce the EKKA to the Disco Nunu at some stage. 40 seconds to go, though, before we're going to be throwing it to our break. So last chance to kind of drop some predictions on this one. Let's go ahead and go for it. Which team, John, do you think won this draft?
Look, I think QT actually most likely won this draft because it might just be too hard for Griffith to scale into this game. But I do think having versed Griffith for quite a while in a lot of different games, playing in Div 1 as the support, Griffith is quite the team together. They have a lot of team synergy. They've been playing together for a while, and they're pretty good as a 5-man, so they might be able to take it out, but I am predicting QT.
I want to be devil's advocate. I want to be the opposite, but I'm going to need more time to decide where I sit on this one. So we're going to be throwing to a spectator delay break. When we come back in about 1-2 minutes, we will be on Summoner's Rift, so do stay with us. Our second game is right around the corner.
We're all looking forward to getting together again at EKKA, where country meets city. EKKA 2022, where we all get together again. Get tickets online now.
All right. Straight into the action, or, well, lack thereof for the time being. Level 1, no one really going at it. Line of scrimmage was set up by QUT. Griffith, they were kind of looking like they might want to invade, decided against it in the end. Let's talk jungles right now. Amumu versus Trundle. I feel as if the tempo game has already been won by QUT.
Yep, for sure. And the Trundle can steal the aftershock of their enemy, so Amumu actually not opting for aftershock, going for the Conqueror, which is interesting to see. Can stack it up with the pool and get quite a bit of damage in the early to mid game, but we'll see how he uses that one.
Reminds me of old school jungle Conqueror Singed, actually going this approach.
Old school, damn, that is going back. Conqueror Singed. I can't say I've seen that actually.
It was fun. It's not something you would bring into a competitive environment.
Oh,
but it
okay,
was fun.
okay. Yeah, it does sound fun. Predator Singed jungle. That sounds like an interesting adaptation. Unfortunately,
I just don't think Singed really was quite at that level that you could jungle it all the time. Either way, though, that is sort of the matchup I'm going to be looking at, especially because each of the junglers did opt to start on the top side of the map. But what I find interesting, Zookeeper going straight from buff to buff. So I feel as if at this stage, QUT, they're actually going to be gearing up for some early plays out of their jungle, maybe in this mid lane, because Chirp's getting a lot of poke down on HSJ.
Yeah, so really important for the early game here is the Syndra bullying out the Azir as much as possible. And we do see a bit of prio gain for the mid lane here by Chirp from getting level 2 early and then looking to punish there. But we do see also Jinx securing prio in the bot lane as well. So we see, as we predicted, red side Griffith here securing prio in both bot and mid. So it's going to allow a little bit more early game plays.
Yeah, and I think the end result of that, you can see the ping coming down that Zookeeper wanted to make a play on the buff. However, by Easy Smurfs revealing themselves in mid, they may have just left themselves exposed. The first bandage toss actually sends them towards Chirp, and that's what's going to give first blood over to the side in red.
Yeah, that was quite an aggressive play there. I like it, but was punished there as Zookeeper was hovering just around that area. Kind of
unfortunate.
Unlucky.
Yeah, it felt like unfortunate timing because Zookeeper was already looking to invade and try buff in that situation just because of Trundle's natural pace advantage that they would have over the Amumu. And then you throw in the Amumu trying to force the play in mid. I don't know. I feel as if Griffith was playing very greedy.
Yeah. They were really looking to push the agenda there and get some sort of plays in the early game to sort of flip this game around. As if you take the Syndra down at that point, it really alleviates a lot of the pressure for QUT here.
Yeah, well, I think Griffith hasn't given up this idea of early plays as Easy Smurf goes in on Paranoid. But again, Zookeeper is in the area and is going to look to try to turn this around. Shiloh might be zoned away. Paranoid so low will be able to walk out, but Miniman went in a bit too deep and will go down. Shiloh gets credit for that kill as Paranoid, even on low health, gets those autos in. Easy Smurf bandage Tosh, it's just enough to go 1 for 1 underneath the tower.
Yeah, Easy Smurf, the Mummy King there, making it work in the end. Did go quite deep for that play, without flash as well. May have made it a little bit easier if he did have that flash, but able to get a kill in the end, so not too bad, but not the way they were hoping. And Zookeeper also, he's just sort of been reading Easy Smurf quite well in this early game. So
yeah, and that is a problem, I feel like, because Zookeeper is going to be, actually, I feel like quite ahead in terms of the gold race, about 300 at this stage. That is something that could accelerate. Toppy goes in, but Chirp has already roamed up. Scatter the Weak makes contact, and Toppy will go down. Kip Kangaroo with the kill.
Yeah, so level 5 Syndra roam, really using that prior advantage there.
Oh, boy.
And we see Zookeeper is going to run down Easy Smurf. No flash on the Amumu.
HSJ.
Yeah, that's a sad mummy right there.
Scatter the Weak just makes contact and will secure that kill as well. Down in the bot side, Brass is going to try and put some damage in. However, we were worried about Griffith not being able to scale. This is not how you start scaling.
No, this is definitely not the ideal start. If you're Griffith, you're a little bit concerned here. I think at this point, they're most likely going to have to give up first drag unless some miracle happens, and potentially the second one too. We'll see if they look to fight the third and the fourth, but yeah, it's not looking too great for them at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, it does look as if at this stage QUT was able to kind of reset and get some of their gold back in their favor, but for the most part, this QUT side just applying so much pressure on the bot half of the map right now as well. They're getting plates there. They have pressure with the mid lane priority. Dragon is kind of theirs to take at their leisure for the foreseeable future. You'd like to see them get it sooner than later, as what a Scatter the Weak, just stopping HSJ from getting back into lane.
Yeah, nice little cheeky mechanics there. But yeah, for sure we see mid advantage and the bot advantage.
And top.
Here. Yeah, we see a little bit of CS lead there, top. That matchup will start to flip later on as Camille can beat the Gnar in a side lane, but in this early game situation, the Gnar does have the range to play that matchup.
A little bit unfortunate for Easy Smurf. Could have been a play there. Was spotted by a ward. Has to back away.
Yep.
And yeah, that lane will flip, but you could argue that all the lanes will eventually flip in favor of Griffith in this situation if they're allowed to. But like, it doesn't matter how much of an advantage your champions have if you have that much of a gold deficit. If you're a completed item down, you're still going to be in that losing matchup, and that kind of seems to be the direction this game is going. Griffith really needs to calm down and stop trying to force fights when they're playing the scaling team composition. Like, let's go back and think about sort of all the exchanges that went against them. I feel like they were all initiated by the Griffith side.
All of them were opt-ins, and they really just need to acknowledge that Vayne and Azir are just going to be Exodia champions later in the game, and they can just chill up until that point. They've just been maybe disrespectful a little bit, trying their luck. So we'll see if they calm down a little bit and look to just scale and farm up.
Oh, we are seeing a bit of farming up right now in this situation. The Dragon, one of the largest things you can farm up, and that is going to be collected by the team in red. QUT has slain the Mountain Drake, and first Dragon will go in their favor. The next Dragon spawning will be an Ocean Drake, as Kip Kangaroo still doing quite all right against Toppy.
Yep, he is Toppy throwing the hook shot out into the middle of Kip Kangaroo there. See some interesting trades here, but we do see what is important, that Toppy is trading into Kip Kangaroo here, looking to get him as low as possible, and we have Easy Smurf pathing up here. He's looking for a lane gank actually, which is interesting. Potentially the dive. He does have flash
Yeah,
up.
it's coming. Bandage Sauce makes contact. Toppy falls it through, but immediately Nard into the wall. The Hextech Ultimatum will get the kill, but it's a 1-for-1. What a play by Kim.
Yeah, that was juicy stuff. Just getting the Mega Gnar there as Easy Smurf launched in. Sort of unlucky timing, just a little bit behind on that rage bar. Maybe they could have bursted him down in time, but nicely played by Kipper Kangaroo there.
Yeah, so a 1-for-1 play as once again Griffith, they're the initiators, they're the aggressors, and it doesn't really work out in their favor. The end result of that top skirmish is Zookeeper currently getting Rift Herald as HSJ has a shield, uses the barrier to survive the Scout of the Week, and there's the Emperor's Divide, but it's not enough! Chirp still wins out in the end.
Okay, yeah, it's HSJ starting that off, kind of interesting.
More Griffith initiations and more Griffith getting punished.
Yep.
Speaking of which, let's take a look down below, because Easy Smurf is going to try to make a play on a Paranoid, goes for the man such as Shiloh. That leaves Paranoid alone in the 2v1. This time, though, Miniman will secure that kill, and those are 2 big points in favor of the Griffith side.
Yep, finally turns out their way, and getting a kill onto Miniman early, that is really key for them, as we do have 3 of the kills for Griffith over onto this Amumu, which is definitely not what you want in this early game, as he's not going to be providing too much, even though he does have that Conqueror come these mid-game to late-game team fights.
I mean, we say that, but Amumu still has the most kills on the team, most gold on the team as well.
Yeah.
Easy Smurf is kind of just moving right along. It could have a larger impact. The problem is they still need to complete that big first item. No one's really completed the first item just yet. That should be the next back. Scout of the Week does not make contact, and HSJ able to just kind of slide away despite the run from Kip.
Yeah, cheeky little escape there. He was getting flanked by all angles and found the one to escape, so nicely done by him.
Herald, tower, does it break? Absolutely, and that's a good chunk of gold going over to the QUT side.
Yep, as we see they're going to go Herald into the river here to get some control, as we see Chirp also just maintaining this mid lane prio, not giving it up at all, just strangling Griffith here in this early game.
Yeah, there will be a lot of, I would have to imagine, some pressure coming in sooner than later.
Yep, especially in this bot side here. We see the setup for a dive potentially here. It won't be answered by Easy Smurf either, as he is in the top lane. This could be huge, but respectful walk away by Griffith there. They're going to acknowledge that this isn't worth a 3 CS that they have to lose for it.
Yeah, you would think that, but Miniman's still sticking around. Gets poked out a little bit. Next wave is going to crash. However, it looks like Miniman and Braza has just enough to save that third tower plating from going down just yet. And with no Dragon realistically able to rotate to, the defense is going to hold for now. Time Bomb makes contact with Paranoid. We can see how much damage it's doing. A decent chunk. However, on the top side, as all this has been happening, actually, it should be worth noted, Toppy and Easy Smurf getting some plates of their own.
Yeah. And what's key here is that there is a 15 CS difference in the bot lane, but for the most part, the Vayne is being allowed to scale into this game. It will depend how much pressure QUT maintains in this game, but if the Vayne can continue to CS up, we might see Griffith have some agency a little bit later in the game here.
Yeah, would like to see that. I mean, if Griffith is able to get that skill on, that would be great for them. Toppy and Cape Kangaroo go at it. As we saw a little bit of Hex Tech action. Not really enough to take down the Gnar, but enough to poke it back.
Yeah, some nice mechanics there. Toppy using his ultimate to dodge some of the CC from Kip Kangaroo. Some nice Camille gameplay.
Teleport to the top, and that will mean no teleport for Toppy should another dragon fight break out. Kip Kangaroo, though, might have to burn teleport to sort of match that on that top side, as Easy Smurf again has made their way to the bot side of the map, but underneath the tower, not really the play they want to make. Junglers are convening, though, on the bot side. Why? Well, because of that dragon spawning very, very soon.
That's a really interesting play. Toppy TPing up there. He is going to push this wave in, so we'll have to see whether he walks down after pushing the wave in to come for Dragon. But he will be a little bit late. You would have to imagine with that TP, their idea is to give up this Dragon, as Toppy is just going for the plates here. Kip Kangaroo can look to TP if they do opt to fight this Dragon, but no, we see some bases coming through, and they're just looking to.
Toppy's in trouble. Toppy's in a fair bit of trouble. Yeah. Kip Kangaroo wants this flash for flash. Slash auto gets the kill. Kip just walked up, right-clicked, and got the solo Volo. Either way, the Dragon also goes in QUT's favor, and we're just seeing this lead extend.
Yep, that is definitely not what we want to see. Toppy using the TP up there, getting a little bit greedy for that plate. Oh, we do see again.
Yeah, bandage toss made contact, and that's going to be more than enough to take down Chirp.
Yeah, we just saw there the first usage of the Azir Everfrost as well. I have not seen that for a little while, so a little bit of tech coming out there. We do see bot lane here.
Yeah, Miniman could be in a bit of trouble. Is able to pin Zookeeper to the wall. Braza will arrive to provide a little bit of a chrono shift onto Miniman, you would have to think, if it gets used in the right time, and it does. So Miniman will get revived. Unfortunately, it's going to be right into Shallow and Paranoid. That does mean a flash over the wall to keep Miniman standing for now. HSJ has been able to roam down. Tower is low, but not low enough, and it does a lot of damage to Shiloh. Meanwhile, Kip Kangaroo, it's time for a little bit of revenge because Easy Smurf is here. Nice sidestep of the bandage toss before going Nega as HSJ jumps all over Zookeeper and uses the Emperor Divide to secure the kill. Hextech Ultimatum in the top. Kip Kangaroo in a 2v1 trying to get underneath the tower, trying to get to safety. Burns the flash top. He's going after it, but here comes the teleport and stun. Tower not enough for the kill. Kip Kangaroo throws the boomerang. That secures it as it scatters the wake, makes contact onto Easy Smurf, who has to flash over the wall and take a blasting cone in order to escape, but the Unleashed Power got the kill.
Yeah, Chef sends the balls to follow him there, as that was huge because Griffith was about to gain 2 plays on different sides of the map there, which would have been absolutely launching them back into this game, but able to sort of survive the bot lane engage, but also the top lane there. Kip Kangaroo just the king of 1v2s this game, I guess.
Kip Kangaroo is playing out of their mind right now on this Gnar, has taken this top side over, was able to get first tower as well, I believe, at the tail end of that all, unless the mid tower fell first, which I do not believe. Oh, it might have. But either way, was able to get that top tower down, so well done to Kip Kangaroo in that regard. The rest of QUT, they're around the Herald as it spawns. Nearly a 6K gold lead at this stage, a majority of that sitting in that mid lane Chirp. Kind of has been having a silent carry performance as well.
Yeah, and he is going to be able to put a lot of pressure here. The thing is that the target of Chirp, if the Zillion can use his ult right, the Chirp can't really target the carries of Griffith, because if he does use to try and burst these champions down, the Zillion can just use his ult to negate that and basically make the champion redundant. So we'll have to see how they play around that and whether Braza can look to counter that. But I think I have faith.
Bandage toss, contact onto Shiloh, but here comes the re-engage from Zookeeper. Too late to save the support. HSJ has to use the Emperor's Divide to keep Chirp back, but so much damage is coming over that wall. The Unleashed Power did come through. Mega Death Rock. It gets a flash out of HSJ.
Yeah, I think there was a couple of milliseconds there in whether the Zillion ult was going to come through. Doesn't risk it and does flash. Nice reactions there. Oh, we see Miniman here.
Oh yeah, Miniman going in on Paranoid. Choppers will be able to zone them out. That tower will go down. And that's more gold going over to QUT. Paranoid able to slip away to safety.
Yeah, I think Paranoid is pinging Vayne R there, as Vayne potentially used a little bit aggressively. Paranoid does just throw down the chompers, and Miniman unfortunately has to walk away in a bit of shame there. But yeah, we see Kip Kangaroo has full control over the top side of his map here. He's not really afraid. He gets some vision down. And this is going to be QUT extending their control of the map, really, as you're going to think, as Dragon is going to come up soon, they're going to look to exert their pressure over the rest of the side of the map.
Yeah, I would like to see, you know, QUT really try to rush this game down and end it as fast as possible, because they're still up against that ticking time bomb. And if we learned anything from yesterday, you need to finish when the opportunity is there. So many comebacks happened yesterday in this game with the scaling comp able to bring it back. Granted, normally it was the Jinx on the scaling comp. This time, though, it's the Vayne we got to be careful for from Miniman. Not to mention this Camille. I know Toppy's had a rough start in this game, but there's still more than enough time to bring it back should the momentum start to shift. And that's why QUT cannot afford to let up.
Yeah, and that's what's so key about QUT's comp is that they have that early game agency, but they also have the Jinx as their late game insurance. So even if they do start to extend this game out a little bit, it will fall on the Jinx to sort of put pressure on.
HSJ trying to get a little aggressive right there. Could be in a bit of trouble, though, as they are caught out a bit. Mega Death Rocket not enough for the kill, but enough to get HSJ away from the fight. Meanwhile, Easy Smurf found out as well, trying to re-engage onto Chirp. Goes ahead and drops the Curse of the Sad Mummy, but there's not getting out of that. 2v1 goes in favor of QUT as they continue to march towards the Griffith base.
Yeah, unfortunately, Easy Smurf's Conqueror not doing quite enough there. Does fall down. We saw a cheeky little play by HSG. I actually remember now watching some of the Unisport games where he played, and he would go for these very interesting little catch picks in the mid lane where he uses his Everfrost to sort of catch the enemy off guard, as no one was really expecting the Azir Everfrost, but doesn't connect there, and we saw a cheeky play by Shiloh, getting the root on there and pulling him back, almost getting the kill. But Brazic holds his ultimate. Although it doesn't really matter. It's got decently long cooldown, but not many fights probably going to be happening in the next little while.
No, I mean, especially with that Cloud Drake already secured, it's not as if Griffith is going to be in position to contest that. 5 minutes time until we see the Cloud Soul up for grabs as Shallow goes ahead and completes that Shard of True Ice. More itemization, more leads, more advantages. A quick look at the gold right now. The big one I'm looking at, 3K gold lead. Chirp over HSJ.
Yep.
And I know you're saying the Syndra might have a hard time picking off individual targets because of the Chrono Shift. I don't think that matters. I mean, because when you just have to push a button and you immediately go ult for ult with one of the most powerful in the game, as Chirp is able to avoid, and the Scatter the Weak catches the hook shot. Toppy barely avoids the Pillar of Filth. Flash for flash. Easy Smurf now might be getting caught out. The Unleashed Power does so much damage, and that's supposed to be a tank. Zookeeper gets the first kill. Toppy barely escapes. Meanwhile, on the other end, Shiloh might be being found out. Miniman can't quite pin him to the wall. However, the time bombs will hold the support in place. Miniman steps forward. Chirp trying to stay careful. Miniman's going to try to re-engage from behind. Scatter the Weak already used. That means Chirp has no crowd control. This is their chance to take down the Syndra, but can they get out alive? Zookeeper all over Toppy gets another one, and now Miniman needs to run for the hills. The problem is those hills are so far away. A triple kill for the Zookeeper.
Yeah, that was a little bit of desperation showing there for the side of Griffith, as they really looked for that pick. Unfortunately, the Amumu bandage shots did not connect, and the E cancel by Chirp on that Syndra was beautifully timed, and you would think there was some GG well plays typed in the chat after that E connects on the enemies, but we do see a Baron take here.
Or Baron steal, perhaps. HSJ is lurking around, and Easy Smurf is back. No smite available, though, for the Amumu. I don't think they're going to get into that pit, so Easy Smurf now has to run away. 2 teleports trying to join the fray in the mid lane as a desperation Curse of the Sad Mummy holds everyone in place just in time for the rest of QT to re-engage. Chrono Shift will delay the inevitable on Braza, who is able to flash over the wall, is able to escape, dodges the Super Mega Death Rocket, but there are 5 members of QUT strong. They have Baron-empowered minions, and they're knocking at Griffith's door.
Yeah, and you can see QT actually was probably sitting on quite a bit of gold there, hadn't faced for a while, so I like the look to play on them after they get that Baron. Unfortunately, a little bit mistimed, as Easy Smurf does go in with a nice ult, but the rest of the team wasn't able to get there in time. The TP was just coming in a little bit later on, so they don't connect on that fight there, but it was a nice look.
Well, either way, the end result, more acceleration coming from the QUT side. Mid inhibitor down. We still are about a couple minutes away from what would be a Cloud Soul. An Easy Smurf may have been found out as well. Zookeeper just wailing away. It's still going to be Chirp who gets credit for the kill. And this is just going from bad to worse for the Griffith side.
Yeah, Chirp is having a field day here. Unfortunately, Easy Smurf can't walk into his own jungle anymore, which is very depressing as a jungler when that happens.
Oh, Toppy could be in a bit of trouble. Tries to find the re-engage, won't be able to get there.
Yeah, steals the blue buff away. Yeah, cheeky little take there.
Yeah, cheeky, but not quite enough. All right, 22 minutes into this game. Look, we passed the 10K threshold. This is where I start talking about that no mercy rule. I'm all about the scaling, don't get me wrong, but let's just look at the itemization of both of our bot laners right now. Let's just look at the gold differential. I feel like Paranoid, who is also a scaling champion, is just going to out DPS in this situation just because of that area of effect that we're going to see with those rockets.
Yeah, you can see they have a very good front-to-back team fight as well, QT, and he has the insurance of Shiloh on that Renata, so he will be very comfortable. You would have to think as soon as he gets the 3 items here, there's just going to be no way of Griffith really ever even trying to team fight, even in a good situation. But we'll have to see how they hold out. Continue to farm up for Griffith, try and hit those item power spikes and see if they can sort of make some plays here. But it will be on them to make the play. Look for Griffith to get a little bit a little bit maybe out of position. They're where they don't have numbers advantage and sort of capture them with their pants down. But we'll see if they can make that happen.
Yeah, we'll see if that can come together. I'm a little bit skeptical, to be quite frank, that Griffith is going to find a way back into this. You never know. Toppy is going to have to hook shot their way to safety. Okay, you know what? Sometimes you do know. I am going to call it now because this gold lead is absolutely massive. And again, I keep going back to the mid lane differential. Remember, it was 3K. Now we're looking at it being 4K. Chirp has just absolutely taken this game over. Not to mention Zookeeper's impact on this Trundle as well. Give them the Cloud Soul. Let's add more advantages over to the QUT side. We're just one team fight away. Even a forced one, I feel like, and QUT can end this.
Yeah, you would have to think if this wasn't Cloud Soul, they would just end the game pretty much right here. It's kind of unlucky for QUT.
Are you talking down on my boy, the Cloud Soul?
I'm definitely not a fan of the Cloud Soul. Actually, I think the Cloud Soul is the UQ Soul, because sometimes whenever we're ahead and getting Cloud, it seems to be
Cloud Soul is so good on Zookeeper.
Yeah, that's true.
Zookeeper loves Cloud Soul. Zookeeper's like, yes, give me that extra bit of movement speed. Give me that cooldown. I want to go to town. And speaking of going to town, QUT, they just went to town on that second inhibitor.
Yeah, they did. They are sort of just taking whatever they want right now. They don't really care. Paranoid is frontlining, sort of calling everyone's bluff, and no one is willing to sort of challenge them on that. So Griffith definitely on the back foot here. They're in a very bad spot. We'll see if QUT missteps in the next 5 minutes or so.
Yeah, we'll see what can go down. I feel like right now all what QUT needs to do is just keep taking these towers, maybe reset unless they get forced into a fight where they can end the game, which could be the case. Toppy wants to find that flank. We saw how dangerous Toppy can be in our previous match, but not looking at it right here. Here comes the QUT side straight down the top as they're knocking once more on the door.
Toppy
Easy
with the
Smurf,
flank.
five-person Curse of the Sad Mummy. Toppy is going to try to follow it up, but Renata Glask actually catches everyone as well. However, too much damage from Chirp in that back line, already finding shutdowns.
Yeah, Miniman's trying his best here. He has a lot of DPS to put out.
That's Chirp, but doesn't get the killing shot. Miniman still low, still staying in the front line. That is a dangerous place to be. Yeah. Eventually they will have to back away, but it could be too little too late. Kip Kangaroo comes bouncing on in. Braza, one auto away, will be able to sneak away to safety, but now the third inhibitor is under threat, and I don't see Griffith getting there in time.
Yeah, that was a nice attempt. Honestly, if they were the Golding was a little bit closer, they would have won that fight most likely.
Are they still going?
They are looking.
They are still pushing. This could be the push to end the game. That's a little risky from QUT.
Yeah.
And without their full strength,
they do have
back
Toppy
away.
TP here.
Yeah, flank play coming through right now. Toppy wants to make a hero play in this situation. Jumps over the wall and winds up right in the middle of a QT sandwich. Miniman from down below on the other side of that Pillar of Filth just does not have the damage to take Zookeeper down straight away. Zookeeper stays alive as HSJ fails on the follow-up. A triple kill for Kip Kangaroo. Easy Smurf and Braza, the only two standing. That's a Quadra. I'll give it to him, Braza. Give it to him. Here he comes, throwing some bombs. Kip Kangaroo wants it, jumping after the Zillion, and it's stolen by Chirp. All right. All right.
Yeah, it wasn't letting Kip Kangaroo take his son in that game. Chirp did play well. Kip Kangaroo, though, playing a lot of those fights in the top lane to perfection. So.
I am in shock that Kip Kangaroo didn't just leave the game right there. Had the Penta all lined up, ready to go.
Wait, I see him. He's actually walking out of the exhibition theater right now. He's going home, I think.
He's gone. Well, that's going to be good for UQ then, because with the way how, that QUT team was playing, Kip Kangaroo looked insane. Chirp looked insane.
Yep.
This entire team, Zookeeper looked insane. The entire top half of the map just absolutely took that match over.
Yeah, for sure. And it was on them to sort of gain those advantages, and they did so. Chirp especially pushed his lead in the early game and really sort of took over the map as the mid lane. If you can gain prior and gain control in the mid lane, then you sort of have agency across the whole map to exert your pressure, which they did quite effectively. So.
Yeah, they did, and they got the win to top it all off. So congratulations to QUT. We almost have our spicy scenario now. We almost have our 3 1-1 teams. That's going to be interesting because up next it is going to be UQ versus QUT, the rematch of the Rumble, this time with the Div 1 teams. That's going to be an exciting one.
Look, these players have been versing each other for a long time. They're some of them are quite good friends, so they know each other quite well. They know their strengths and weaknesses. So we'll have to see. This one could be a spicy one. Might see some interesting things be picked up in this game.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting to watch out for sure. So do stay with us. We'll be back with more League of Legends when we return.
We're all looking forward to getting together again at EKKA, where country meets city. EKKA 2022, where we all get together again. Get tickets online now.
Thank you, everybody, for staying with us. We're hot dropping straight into the action for this game. Apologies for the lack of overlays in this one. It should be worth noting, however, that it will be UQ on the blue side, QUT are on the red side, and, well, fortunately, there wasn't any level 1 fight.
Yeah, we saw a potential very explosive level 1, but UQ did just opt into the bot lane, get that bot early ward there. But Red's QT rather actually just going to stack on Pixel Brush there. So they do get their vision advantage here, as they have tracking on UQ's jungle, which will be some important information for the early game.
Now, this is obviously straight into the game. We did miss our pick and ban phase, so I do think it's worth noting at the start of this game to kind of look at these team compositions and what necessarily to expect, because UQ, in order to make the finals, has to beat QUT, and they need to do it in under 26 minutes and 50 seconds. So we were expecting them to take something aggressive. What I don't think we were expecting was for a QUT to grab an aggressive team composition as well.
Interesting. They sort of to opt in a little bit. They do have some, scaling areas. Their Silas is a bit of a scaler himself. Jax definitely as well. But UQ, they had a very clear trend, not just from the picks, but also from the bans, as they went to ban champions that can sort of counter-engage. They went for the Poppy ban, they went for the Talia ban, so they made a very clear indication of what they were going for. So they go for the Irelia in the mid lane, which is very explosive and will be sort of the way for them to win in this early game here.
Yeah, I think getting FTR out of that mid lane and kind of harassing elsewhere on the map is going to be so important for the UQ side. The problem is Chirp is known for this Silas play. Like, that is one of Chirp's key champions in this game. Chirp, of course, is a player that I dare say has some LCO potential within them in the near future. So it's like they're giving that champion their sort of best go, as already Zookeeper, who had an amazing game number 1, is invading. Flash for flash, 2 more autos should do it. A late stun, not enough to turn it around. And now Chirp will find a re-engage on FDR, who doesn't find Zookeeper. Blasting Cone will not save him, as HD Times will flash over the wall. Now Chirp could be the one who's stuck deep, yet Kip Kangaroo is making their way down. Is level 3, has the Counter-Strike available,
FTR
will get the stun, but FTR got a stun in return, was not enough. 2-1 lead in favor of QUT.
Yeah, that's all coming down to that early level 1 ward there. Zookeeper able to track to Kai and just shows up on his wolves there to give him a nice little greeting. And unfortunately, even though FTR was able to get first move, it wasn't in time, and they do lose out in that early game, which is pretty devastating for them.
I think the most devastating thing as well, already a Sheen has been picked up now by Kip Kangaroo in that top lane. So that is a Jax with a pre-3 minute 30 second Sheen. Will be pre-4 minutes before getting back in lane. And that means it's going to be that much more difficult for HD Times to really help support FDR should we get some early grouping from the UQ side.
Yep, the early skirmishes are definitely going to be a problem, especially with that double buff as well on the Jax there. Kip Kangaroo is going to be very happy in the top lane. He's going to have full control over the lane at this point, and he is going to be able to maneuver the wave as he wants. So you're going to expect probably a slow push into a crash here, and then look for an early reset. That will give him the tempo and the agency in this the early game for the top lane for him.
So I want to talk a little bit more, too, about UQ's team composition, because when I saw it kind of coming together, I wrongly assumed, or at least wrongly believed, that it was going to be Aurelia top, Wukong jungle, Diana mid. Is there any reason why they did go for that Aurelia mid, Wukong top, Diana jungle? As hold the thought, Kip Kangaroo, 1 auto away, will flash for it, gets it done, is able to sneak out safely.
Yeah, that really hurts. HD Times without the teleport, not going to be able to get back up to the top lane, as there was quite a wave that had built up. I thought that he was going to go for the slow push. Kip Kangaroo left the minions, but at this point, he did chip chipped them down enough in that fight that he's going to go for the crash here and get some chip damage on the turret. But yeah, so their draft, it was very indicative of how FTR likes to play. He is a big Irelia player. That's his main champion. And he is quite efficient on this. So he's got the confidence. Unfortunately, the early game has been sort of out of control in being able to impact it with that Trundle invade. And now it's not looking too good. Oh, the chains
Wrong
actually
way.
don't connect. Yeah, the pillar was a little bit off there.
That said, you can see on that top side, Kip Kangaroo invading just to harass Takai as well. This Jax is taking over the top lane as Chirp goes in on FDR. Stun not available in time, and it's a solo kill for the Silas. 4-1 kill lead in favor of QUT.
This is going from bad to worse here, as there was a huge wave there, and FTR was being zoned out of it. Since the damage that had been chipped away on him, he wasn't able to approach that wave and get it shoved in. So Chirp had full control of the wave. He was looking to zone him, and FTR gets punished there for overstaying.
Cole picked up for Kip Kangaroo at the tail end, but also, I guess, getting a little bit of that scaling. I see that as a tool to sort of accelerate the lead as well at this stage. This is not the start at all that I feel like UQ was looking to see. And it's interesting because a lot of the gold right now is being funneled on who you would think would be the late game almost, with Kip Kangaroo just taking over on this Jax.
Yep, he definitely was not expecting to have this much strength in the early game, and these kills that he's picked up has accelerated into this game extraordinarily. So it's not going to be looking too good for UQ on that front. As Chirp taking huge trade here.
Vanguard's edge, sidestep, the stun. Chirp gets another solo kill back-to-back on FDR. And for a team that needs to win in under 27 minutes, essentially, they're already down a Drake, 4 kills. This is a disaster for UQ.
This is indeed. Chirp showing his efficiency on the champion, showing why he gets so many bans for that Silas pick, as he had the level advantage there. He had 6 over 5 for FTR, and he's just making use of it. Again, doing the exact same thing as before. The zone on the wave on his side, as he'd frozen it, he just keeps it there and keeps FTR from hitting that level 6 and just punishes him.
This could be the second game in a row where we see Chirp absolutely take over that early and mid game as well on the Silas. I mean, there's a fair few good ultimates to kind of steal away. We saw the Vanguard's edge used for that kill before, but you can also take away the Cyclone from HD Times. I think the depth charge from Kane is also something that could be incredibly strong on this Silas. So,
not to mention the Diana ult as well. It can be quite huge in these early game skirmishes.
So this is a very perilous situation that UQ does find themselves in early. There's still time for them to come back in this game. It's not as if we've lost any major objectives just yet. However, if they continue to bleed kills, it's going to get worse before it gets better. This could be something you could see them try to turn it around. We did see Chirp steal away the depth charge as both the jungles were having a look, but as much as you hold down Chirp, you also be mindful Kip Kangaroo on that Jax is also winning lane hard.
Yeah, the only lane that is sort of gone even here is the bot lane, but we do have a fight here.
Oh, that's an early Cyclone. Counter-strike stun.
Ooh.
Second Cyclone gets the knock up the tower. Not enough to secure the kill.
Yeah, and we see a roam up here from Takai. He is going to look for Kip Kangaroo.
That's going to be a flash to help secure the kill. Takai picks one up. Much needed kill over to the side of UQ as Vanguard's edge is once again going to be dropped. Chirp though looking for that re-engage. FDR winning this duel, and that's a massive solo kill that UQ needed.
Beautifully played there from FDR as he uses his W to nullify the Nautilus ult that came up from Chirp there, showing the efficiency on that Aurelia, and why there's a couple of montage plays being clipped by me. I'm a big fan of the FDR Aurelia, so.
Oh, so when's that one getting dropped?
Well, there was one for last year. I've got to wait for the clips to come out from him soon. Hopefully he's accumulating them left, right, and center. You might even see that one in there as well, actually.
Ooh, that could be a little bit of fun. Montage clips are great. I think more players need to create highlight montage clips in League of Legends, because you see them in other esports games, like in Rocket League they show up all the time. CSGO they show up all the time. But you never really see them as much from League players, I feel like. At least not within OCE.
No, you don't see them much at all. And I really like it as a way of connecting supporters with the players, especially at a university level. So I want to see QT Griffith come out with a cheeky little montage to throw up there before QT into Varsity.
Well, I think Kip Kangaroo on that NAR game probably could put something together from there before, as we do watch QUT start to siege that mid tower, everyone converging onto the scene. Who's going to go first? It's going to be FDR, just gets poked out though before real damage can come through.
Yeah, QUT really looking to break open this game here. They're looking for the early mid turret, which really gives them a lot of control over the map. If they're able to get it, it just blows the map wide open and allows them to maneuver freely through the river and the jungle areas. But they aren't able to get it there because they weren't able to get enough chip damage that they know that the Herald will kill it, so they just opt to walk away, actually. And maybe we're going to see Zookeeper use it on that bot turret there. We'll have to see.
The FTR trying to get some poke, trying to get some shoving in. On the opposite side, though, HD Times actually fakes the decoy. That's kind of funny, and it did force KipKangaroo back momentarily. However, it does look as if the pace is starting to slow down a little bit. With no real neutral objectives up for grabs, it does feel as if QUT is okay to stall the game, which again, unfortunate for UQ because they have to win this in under 27 minutes.
Yeah, they do. Luckily, they have got some of that gold back. FTR getting that shutdown. We do have Takai being the only one to defend this mid turret. It means it is going to fall to Zookeeper. Ended up coming back on through to this mid wave there. Hezreal, unfortunately, not able to dissuade any push there. But yeah, it's been very quiet in the bot lane here. Lucian Nami does have a lot of early game strength. Ezreal Nautilus is not known for its synergy, so they are just looking to chill. The hook just goes wide.
Awkward. Yeah, that was a little bit of a miss, unfortunately, from Kane.
Yeah, but looking to sort of, you can hook it around the minions there. Oh, we do have the engage.
Is able to collect Chirp in it, but Zookeeper's coming for a re-engage. Despite Ignite being dropped, Chirp seems A-okay to go for this one. Flash from FTR. Chirp still looking to run down the Aurelia, finds the kill, and QUT continues to extend with the fight actually happening potentially down below as well. Dredgelight does make contact on Shilo. Soy comes over the wall, but is throwing all their attention on a Paranoid. Tidal Wave doesn't hit anyone. Kane might be the focus. Paranoid just dancing around that pillar of filth as Zookeeper keeps Soy out of the fight. Paranoid does not get the kill. Takai turns it around, finds Shilo as well, and now Zookeeper is going to have to try and fight their way out, but they took too much damage with the fight from Soy before, and that is a triple kill for Takai.
Yeah, that's huge stuff there. A lot of gold going on to Takai there. He's going to have quite a bit of damage coming through, and as the only source of AP damage, that will be quite key for them. So we'll have to see what he can use that gold for. Oh, we see have an engage here from FTR potentially.
Chirp has the Vanguard's edge, will use it on FTR. Takai, though, going for a re-engage, arrives too late to the scene. Chirp, however, will go down. It's a 1-for-1.
Yeah, nice Takai following a lot of the action on the map here, which is good to see. We do have that mid turret almost falling down there. So it's not too great for the side of UQ. We're going to have to see if they can be a little bit more proactive here, as QT is sort of taking control of this game and leaving us to be a bit more reactive. But still 13 minutes. We have time. You know, this game's not over yet. Halfway.
Halfway. If you want UQ to advance to the finals, this game is about halfway over, right? Because they have to win under that 27-minute mark. It should be worth noting, Griffith, because of their 23-minute, 47-second victory over UQ, they have punched their ticket. They're going to be the first team in the grand final. This game is essentially to find out who our second team will be, and UQ has to do more than just win. They have to win under that time limit. QUT, though, what I find interesting, again, is they're the team that's accelerating the game.
Yeah, they have the bot lane prio there. They just use that to lead through. Also, without any mid turret there, it is quite hard to gain the prio in the mid lane for FTR there. And unfortunately, we see that's the second dragon there. They have been stacking these drags, and it's really on QUT to accelerate this game more so than it is on UQ. But might see some players to flip things around, a little bit of creative action, and this game can definitely still be in their hands to end before 26 minutes.
Yeah, but they need to start pushing now, I feel like. They need to start turning some of that momentum, and this could be the play to do it. KipKangaroo actually avoided the Crescent Strike, and that's how come Takai is struggling to re-engage. Chirp now is going to bring it right on back. Already have lost HD times. Takai goes gold, and KipKangaroo, ready with the Counter-Strike, will not get burst down. In fact, they will shut down the likes of Takai, and that is a big play for QUT.
Yeah, that's pretty unfortunate. HD Times predicting that KipKangaroo would go back towards his turret actually opts to go towards the river, where Chirp was sort of hanging around and able to get there just in time. So yeah, pretty unfortunate there. Nice look from Takai and HD, but doesn't work out.
Not working out as a teleport will come through to try and stop Kip Kangaroo's push. HD Times straight into a fight and actually is forcing Kip Kangaroo away.
Yeah, he's Kip Kangaroo doesn't have too much fear there. He is quite ahead, but can't take too much damage there from HD Times. Although he is 1 level behind, was 2 levels behind at that point. We'll see how much resources he can get back into the game with here, though, for HD Times. And
Pulling, used to wave clear a bit, and that will stop UQ from getting a dive through. So with every wave kind of cleared out, that's more time off the clock. That's QUT getting closer to punching their own ticket to the grand final. Kip Kangaroo gets some poke damage down to HD Time. Cyclone stolen by Chirp.
Crucial
Will it be used on this play? Takai actually got caught by the stun. There's the Cyclone. Takai will have to run away, but FDR might be the one who's in danger. Kip Kangaroo secures the kill on the re-engage.
Yeah, really unfortunate there. No stun landing from the Irelia. It means that there's no Q connect, and he actually thought that he did, I believe. So he goes in with the Q on Irelia, and unfortunately that means no reset, and he can't use any of his ult procs there.
So I don't mean to be that guy right now, Sean. You were talking up FTR's Aurelia, said this is the highlight champion, this is the highlight plays.
Yeah.
That scoreline's not looking like a highlight to me.
Look, after that early game fight where Zookeeper just sort of went on a rampage, the game looked a little bit difficult from there, and I don't think FTR did get that solo kill, and then unfortunately kept going for the fights. But the thing is, Chirp was just too strong, had the agency, and was able to get a couple of solo kills for himself.
Chirp, currently sitting on 2.5K gold right now as well, is going into the jungle and farming up as Zookeeper gets swarmed by the University of Queensland. Will go down. Soy picks up that kill. And that's, again, a little bit of breathing room again for the UQ side. However, I am so curious to see what Chirp is about to purchase.
Yeah, I don't want to see that myself. We have the Cosmic Drive purchase there outright. Yeah, Zookeeper maybe turning into, one of the animals from a zoo there, as he just does go 1v5 mode, survives and almost gets a kill, actually, so showing his strength in this early game. But does give some gold back to UQ, some breathing room, like you said. So,
as we do see pressure being placed on the bot side, pressure being placed on the top side. It's some alleviation, yes, being able to pick up that kill on the Zookeeper, but for the most part, this game is still pretty QUT dominated at the moment. We're looking at a just over 5K gold lead overall as a team, but it's the individual differences and where the damage is coming from that matters the most. That 3K difference between the mid laners right now, it equates to a complete item differential between Chirp and FTR, and if we're to get into an extended, longer fight, there's no way UQ wins out as a result.
Yep, and you can see, we do have an early skirmish here on the jungle.
Oh, Zookeeper is the one who gets caught out by the dredge line. Culling coming through, but it's straight into the Nautilus again. As FTR goes for the flank. Vanguard's edge slows Paranoid down, who barely escapes with the blasting cone over the Dragon Wall, but has to wait to lunge back over to re-engage. The red buff stolen away by Soy as Chirp walks straight into a dredge line, and there is that damage gone. Teleport coming in. Kip Kangaroo's going to look for a re-engage. She's the low health Takai. Has to be careful about this one. Gets one. Dredge line into the counter-strike. That's not what you want to see from Kane. Double kill goes right back over to Kip Kangaroo, who jumps over the wall straight after HD Times. Cyclone to try and find time. Paranoid flashes into a Cyclone under tower.
Yeah, launches
that
himself that was definitely an interesting play there. Zookeeper needs to keep him in line, keep him in the zoo. As I'm not sure what just happened there. He got a little, I think it's because he hasn't had the action that he's seen in the rest of his team, and they've been having all the fun. He wanted to join in the party, but there was the second ultimate available for Wukong, which wasn't maybe tracked there.
How many Vayne spawning points would that have been?
I don't know.
The flash forward under tower into a Cyclone.
Yeah, look. Not a Storm Chaser, that one.
Oh, that was painful. But look, overall, I still feel like this is a net game for QUT because they're accelerating the pace in their favor. They're accelerating their way closer to ending this game, which essentially means more work needs to be done by UQ to completely turn this around. That time limit that they need to win by, it's looking rougher and rougher as Chirp goes in for yet another pickup.
That is painful, seeing the E2 do enough damage to actually kill him there. As we did see, before, QT getting a little bit overconfident, having fun there, did overstep, but at the end of the day, all they have to do is play to these side lanes. They have a Jax and a Silas that are just dominating this game, and it's going to be extremely difficult for UQ to answer. So
especially with a 20-minute Baron
here.
A 20-minute Baron would make it that much more difficult as well. All 5 members are currently in that Baron pit. The culling gets dropped, and it keeps blasting away. Ping's coming through. Kane having a little peek at the bottom of the screen, won't be able to kind of get into that Baron pit. And now, did UQ get a little too close to the action? They're running for their life, but Chirp is going right on in. Goes golden to buy time. Tidal Wave collects 3 as Kip Kangaroo jumps straight onto Takai. TP in the backline. The Cyclone only hits the front line, however, of QUT, and they're like, okay, cool, we'll just keep pushing then. HD Times trying to buy as much of their namesake as possible, and eventually it does look like QUT has been slowed. True Shot Barrage nearly takes down Kip.
Yeah, it was, you know, if maybe the gold advantage wasn't so huge, that could have been a bit more of a fight.
This is dangerous. Vanguard's Edge gets 3. However, the Aqua Prism only gets 1. That one, though, is enough to bring him down. Kane dies, but so too does Paranoid. And that is the bot laner gone. Shiloh super low as well. It's actually QUT now that has to back away.
Yeah, the Baron minion, actually the MVP there, protected Shiloh from the Ezreal Q that was going to hit at the end there. But yeah, Paranoid going a little bit too far once again. Wants to have a little bit of fun this game.
Paranoid wants to be involved so badly.
He does indeed.
But you don't need to be paranoid. It's okay. You can relax. Kip Kangaroo, Chirp, they got this one, you'd have to think.
Yeah. They are just going to dominate through the side lanes, you would imagine, especially with this Baron buff. We'll have to see. We do see the Jax moving top lane here. The rest of the team gravitating towards the spot side of the map. All they have to really do here is just push mid-wave out, rotate towards that bot turret there that's still standing, and look to chip away on that one. But they are going to be able to get the jungle control first, sort of constrict UQ and sort of not allow them much movement.
FTR just going a little bit too deep in their own jungle, which, to be quite honest, isn't theirs anymore. And although they're going to try to fight and find Shiloh, actually gets the tidal wave off of the Nami, they're still going to fall, and that's a good chunk of damage gone. Kip Kangaroo now in a 1v3 situation. What can this Jax do? Well, they can get knocked around a lot as the 4th member arrives. Still alive, Kip Kangaroo does eventually fall, but time has been bought for the rest of QUT to start sieging on the opposite end of the map.
Yeah, we'll have to see if there's a room to make a play here. They have 4 people strong. They're actually looking for the end, potentially? No,
they're pushing quite close. I don't think they're going to end just yet. Depth charge was picked up. One misstep, though, from UQ, and it's all over.
Yeah, they're going for the throat here, QT. Not messing around. They're fine with the Jax trade there. They get an inhib for it. If QT actually aren't able to end this inhib take, can be quite good for UQ. It will allow them to get some gold back into the game and look to kill those minions while their own minions actually die.
Counterpoint to that, if they just had to win, it would be good, but they need to win by a time limit. Either way, Kane just walks straight into Zookeeper. Not every dredge line is meant to hit, my friend, because you have angered the beast that is QUT, and they are knocking on your door right now. FTR tries to find a way into that back line. Not able to find him this time. Still a member down. Chirp working on the top side. All you need is one more mistake out of UQ, and QUT wins.
Yeah, as soon as Kane cast that hook, the TP was launched right on top of him.
FTR is going to get caught by the depth charge. Doesn't find the stun back. Kip Kangaroo holds him in place for the tidal wave, and that is the mid laner gone. Jungler falls as well. Soy and HD Times versus the world. QUT, they get the second inhibitor, and it's just the bot lane, and, well, HD Times up 3 versus 5. Can UQ make the comeback happen? They're going in on Kip. Kip drops the counter-strike, has that protection. A nice bit of kiting from QUT means no one falls. However, UQ is continuing to defend.
Yeah, Chirp just taking the Ezreal for chip damage at this point. Soy does flash. Nice getting away from
Kip's still in the front line. True Shot Barrage gets through in the back, but the tower's already gone. And here comes QUT. They're blasting their way all the way into the grand final.
Yeah, QUT making a statement there, finishing the game before that 26-minute mark, and looks like it's going to be QUT taking off Griffith for the final game.
Yeah, that is what that means. Unfortunately for the University of Queensland, they will be falling short here today at the SEQ Uni Open, but for QUT, they were able to play a very clean, very efficient game. Again, under 25 minutes, which is like, out of the 3 games we've seen today, 2 of them have gone under 25 minutes. The exact opposite of what we were seeing yesterday, where everything was going late. This is going to be a very interesting finals right now because we have 2 very aggressive, 2 very efficient teams.
Yep.
Last time they played against each other, QUT got that win. Where's QUT's weakness right now?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, they showed this game and last game that they don't have too much of a weakness, right? They have the ability to play that late game, but also the ability to push their leads in the early game. So they have strengths on both sides of the coin, and I think Griffith also have that agency. So it'll be interesting to see how they adapt both teams, whether both teams will handshake towards a scaling game, whether it will orientate towards that more aggressive early game orientated
I don't think
team
so.
fighting. But
I think we're getting more aggression because I think that's more fun, not only for the players, but for us, the spectators as well. We will be going to a break right now, but when we come back, it's going to be our grand final here. So do stay with us. One more game of League of Legends when we return.
We're all looking forward to getting together again at EKKA, where country meets city. EKKA 2022, where we all get together again. Get tickets online now.
It's time for our grand finals. QUT 2-0, Griffith 1-1, but only one of them will be our winners at the end of the day of the SEQ University Open. I am Max V, joined by Shawnee D.
Yeah, Shawnee D, Chiagan, I go by as well, my alias.
Shawnee D.
Alias.
No one will remember Chiagan. Just like no one will remember Formal. It's Max V and Shawnee D.
Max V and Shawnee D. I think we could make a cool rap group, actually.
Yeah.
I'm quite a rapper myself.
Oh, all right. Can you bust some bars?
I won't do that because there's probably a lot of people clipping this and they'll steal the lyrics and
I think because I want to hear you bust the bars on what we have right here with our champions that have been locked in.
I can do that. And we do have an interesting progression of champion select here. We have an interesting process of how the bans went down because we saw what has become sort of the usual first pick in competitive play, which is the Sivir nowadays. It has a means of going forward and back quite easily. And it is just quite a good champion in general. It's good late game as well as not too bad in the early game for Prio. But when you're pairing the Sivir, you have a lot of different things to pair it with. We saw what Griffith went for was a Kai'Sa into it, but they didn't have to blind their support at that point. Although, when you're picking the Kai'Sa, you want to pick something aggressive, something engaging that can go with it. So QUT has read that, and at that point they've picked the Renata into that, expecting that sort of an aggressive support without them actually having to pick that. And of course, Griffith at that point still have to pick the aggressive support, so they opt for a bit of an unfavorable matchup in the Norlis into the Renata there.
Yeah, I mean, now we can take a more visual look at sort of where our two teams are going. Should be worth noting that on the left, that is the QUT side. On the right in red, that will be Griffith. We can see our bans that we saw taken away, and I was kind of talking about it with some of the teams. Like, one of the tough things about going up against QUT is, like, there's a lot of targeted bans, and you have to let something get through. It is the Syndra that got through, and that was selected first rotation, second pick by the QUT side. But even on the other side, you have like Toppy's Vladimir that did get through as well. So that's another scary champion you have to deal with. There's
a
a
very
lot of big
infamous pick
threats
for him, that is for sure. But yeah, it's interesting to see the adaptations. Hasn't been any adaptations in the mid lane in terms of Griffith and QUT. We saw this matchup go very favorable for QUT Chirp the past game, but we do see adaptations in the rest of the team. We have quite an early game centric Kai'Sa Nautilus that is very explosive, especially come level 6. But we also see the Xin Zhao with a lot more playmaking potential, Weasel as opposed to the Amumu from the previous game.
I also trust Why Love You on the Xin Zhao, maybe a little bit more than the Poppy. Although the Poppy proved to be super effective in our first game of the day, there was a couple moments where Why Love You decided to kind of just take on the rest of the world. You have a better chance of surviving on Xin Zhao, I feel like, with the Crescent Strike that can come through.
Yeah.
I'll also be interested to see how Zookeeper handles this Olaf coming into this one. We haven't seen many strong Olafs so far in the 2 days of League of Legends that we've had here at the EKKA. This could be the time.
Div 2 UQ, you know, they had a couple of good Olaf plays of some Solicals. Maybe not come late game, you know, we may have died a few times, but there was, you know, a few Rampage moments in the UQ games. But I think Zookeeper, you know, if he's sticking to his name, you know, he's the king of the animals that he keeps in the zoo. He might be going on some rampages for himself. He does have the Sivir to sort of ramp him up, as well as the Renata. It can work quite well with the Olaf if you put the W ability on him.
The one thing, too, that I want to, like, note in particular, almost with both these teams, I think there's a little bit more scaling on the Griffith side, and correct me if I'm wrong on this one, but I see the Azir, I see the Vladimir, I'm thinking, okay, these guys are a bit more late game focused, whereas on that other side for QUT, you know, between the Olaf, the Gragas, and even the Syndra, it's a lot more early game focused, particularly on that top half of the map. And despite yesterday being a late game meta, today with the Div 1 teams, it's been very early mid game meta.
Yep.
And I feel like this is another situation of kind of QUT playing to the strengths that they've already established. And I'm a little bit worried that the Vladimir, the Azir might not have time to really get themselves going.
Yeah. So I definitely like that Griffith has changed it up, and they haven't gone for the full scaling as they did before.
True.
It's a little bit too LCK focused. But this time they have that sort of a jungler. They have Xin Zhao that can sort of assist in that early game and sort of get them to that position that they need to get to. And if they are able to get to that late game, for sure, Vladimir and Azir, they have a lot of agency in that late game, you know, to carry these team fights.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a big thing to watch out for, how much they will be able to sort of carry these fights. I'm also loving to see how much Braza will be able to roam on this Nautilus. Kaisa can be someone who you can be relatively safe with a solo lane, especially into a Sivir.
Yep.
That you should be able to be quite fine if Braza starts to roam. Speaking of roaming, both teams opting for an invade.
Yeah, interesting to see actually QT go for what UQ went for last game on blue side, which is going for that the bot bush ward, but actually don't opt for the ward, even though it can give a little bit more ability to get prior in that early game for the bot side. So they path into their jungle, try and catch out anyone trying to get trade of vision there, but Griffith, they've just gone for the top side ward, getting that blue buff warded up there.
Yeah, as they make their way, just checking out, you know, seeing if they can find anything. It's actually turning into a little bit of a late invade, from QUT. I don't think they're going to spot anyone at this time, but they are still slowly pushing forward. Everyone get in position of the blasting cone.
Oh, this could be really big.
Miniman's positioning is what we need to watch out for. The problem is the jungler's on the opposite side. So, yeah, everyone jumps over the blasting cone, sees a blue buff, but they don't actually see any sign of Why Love You.
Yeah, Griffith also, they don't spot them in that position as well. They have no idea that this has happened. So their read will most likely be that they've started that red buff, whereas in reality, QUT have stolen away. We could potentially see a 3-buff start here.
Well, we're seeing a fight happening on the bot side. Paranoid taking quite low already. And it'll be interesting if Griffith was able to pick up on that invade just based on the pathing and where the bot lane came from. It doesn't look to be the case because we can see on the mini-map Why Love You is about to turn the corner and see that missing blue buff. Pings are coming down as junglers are going to spot each other. In fact, they might get a little feisty as well. Why Love You gets the knockup, but Zookeeper's axe makes contact, has a level up, but doesn't have the red buff. Braza flashes over the wall, trying to turn around. Void Seeker flash from Miniman gives first blood to the Nautilus.
Yeah, you can see Why Love You couldn't take that trade. Zookeeper on that Olaf is definitely stronger, even though Why Love You has the red buff. But he overstays, even though you could clearly see the Nautilus rotate. Zookeeper just sticks around a little bit too long and pays the price for it.
So that's first blood going over to Griffith. A little bit of a stronger start than what we saw last time these two teams played against each other, where it was pretty heavily favored in QUT's side. This time around, though, Scout of the Week just missing HSJ, who is going to try to re-engage. Also, a little bit of a jungle change as well. Easy Smurf taken out, subbed back out for Why Love You, who did play in that opening game against UQ. I'm going to be curious, to see if I Love You actually does have that stronger performance. Already has been slightly enabled, but kind of lost a buff before. It's a weird position to be in.
Yeah, you can see a sort of a difference in playstyle. Why I Love You, a bit more of an aggressive early game focused jungler, whereas Easy Smurf is, I think he really assists the team in their team fights and really playing for those late game team fights. As we did see, even though they were quite far behind, some really great Amumu play, some 5-man ults at points, but a little bit too far behind for their team to make it back. But yeah, important to see. We see HSJ. He has actually opted in for the barrier. Very defensive from him after getting a bit of a beating from old Chirp in the mid lane last game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's barrier into Syndra. It just makes sense.
Yeah. But important to see that Chirp, although HSJ had got that prio, Chirp had bullied him out enough that he had to base. And so it's a bit of an uncomfortable situation for him. Chirp still has the TP. He's going to have the first move most likely here, but
yeah, I mean, it's a pretty significant gold advantage actually building for Chirp right now in this early game. I know it's only 400 at this stage, but that will be something that does decide to grow. I'm also a little curious, like, what sort of build Kip Kangaroo is going to be going for. Has the tier open on the Gragas, which makes me think it could be a very AP heavy build on Kip Kangaroo, which will be interesting to watch out for because, yeah, with that, bit more mana regen, that's going to be a lot of poke, a lot of harass, and it could become actually quite difficult for Toppy to really stay sustained in lane.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I think something like Spirit's Visage could be quite good this game. I'm not too sure what... a lot of Gragas players I see actually, they have a preference for whether they like the AP versus the defensive build, and it sort of changes their playstyle a lot. But I have seen quite a few aggressive Gragas tops in my time, so you never know what they're going to pull out. But yeah, interesting to see because of that situation before, HSG having to be forced back without TP, he does have to base and lose out on 20 CS. So 20 CS advantage here for Chirp in the mid lane.
Yeah, and that's equating for about a 300 gold advantage, similar advantage we see in the jungle as well. But in return, it's going that more favorably for Griffith, I would say, in that top lane where you see, that 300 advantage in the top going in favor of Toppy over Kip Kangaroo, and then supports as well. Braza able to just sort of outgold Shiloh, which I guess doesn't mean that much. Either way, HSJ needs to be careful here because Chirp unleashing the power doesn't get the kill. Braza, however, was found by Zookeeper, and that's going to be QUT striking back.
Yep, that was a nice little catch by Zookeeper, and Chirp really putting the pressure, showing that mid lane is definitely in control of QUT once again, as it was last game. So
Chirp is such a menace, and again, I want to emphasize, Chirp as a player has improved so much, I feel like, over the past year of play. And just becoming more consistent, because in the past, Chirp would have these spot-bot performances where they'd completely take a game over, but it felt like they were just as likely to have the opposite happen, where things go terribly wrong. I haven't seen Chirp have one of those nightmare games in such a long time. The consistency has been there. The patience in the lane has been the big difference as the dredge line is going to come through onto Shiloh. Miniman gets a nice chunk of damage down onto the support. Not enough to warrant an all-in, but Miniman and Braza still doing work on the bot side.
Yeah, it's interesting to see Chirp. I played quite a few scrim games against him last year, and he didn't seem to be playing that much ranked, but he was always that high caliber player. So it seems like this season he's challenged at the moment, so he's put in quite a lot of work. Maybe he's looking to make that move towards LCO.
I would have to think LCO is something that could be in Chirp's future. And we see that a lot in InterVarsity play. Like the players who stand out in these collegiate leagues are the players who do make it to the LCO. They will be given that opportunity. Like, this is the pathway to going professional at times. Sure. And I mean, there's a few players here that you could make that argument for. I would say, see, like Tapio's already played in the LCO, so you already have that there. Braza, I think, is another one who we could be seeing in the future. And with the way how Kip Kangaroo, Zookeeper, and even Miniman and Why Love You, I think, as we kind of been showing, you never know. That could be there as well. Obviously, consistency is what becomes important, but there's a lot of future, big names within the league scene here on display right now as we wait to see if the trap will get sprung.
Yeah, a little bit of a cheeky trap we have here. I'm not a big fan of this, to be honest.
They're taking their time.
It seems like Renata has left him. He's in quite a bit of trouble
We're going
here.
back down because the trap was sprung. Flash immediately kind of blown by Paranoid, who will be able to walk away. Double flash over the wall. Triple flash. They really wanted to take Paranoid down. Meanwhile, it's a Shurima shuffle to get Chirp under tower. Only one shot, though, will connect, and HSJ won't be able to get a kill.
Yeah, HSJ, a couple of those cheeky shuffles we see now and then by him, sort of trade some health, but he's out of mana.
Chemo Plague already dropped on the Zookeeper. It's not going to do that much damage as Ragnarok is called upon. Toppy is looking quite low. The Sanguine Pool buys time. Zookeeper survived the Unleashed Power and helps Kip Kangaroo get the kill. Now Braza, HSJ, and Why Love You are going to be on the run away.
Ooh, nice.
Why Love You, though, could be zoned out for the rest of the team. Kip Kangaroo connects with the Body Slam, and with the Casket, it's not explosive, doesn't matter. Flashing over the wall, that kill gets secured by QUT.
Yeah, you can see just a bit of a disconnect from Griffith there. Toppy sort of all on his lonesome, as we did have a very clear priority of the mid lane by Chirp as he just dominated HSJ. HSJ also without any mana, so Griffith not really in a position to contest that Herald there, although moving Braza up. But they did look to take the fight in the end, and it didn't work out too well for them.
A little bit unfortunate, as it didn't quite come together, but still early days essentially in this game. About a 1.5k gold differential. Most of that will probably be seen on that top half of the map again for QUT, as they're looking to set themselves up quite well. Toppy versus Kip Kangaroo. On the top side is actually Kip currently with that, had, I would say, the advantage in that lane, had the priority until a nice chunk of damage actually will scare Kip away.
And he's most likely going to go for the freeze here, so this is pretty pivotal. Kip Kangaroo without the TP for at least another 20 seconds or so. So Kip Kangaroo not going to be in the greatest position in the top lane. Toppy, a nice little play there to sort of bully him out there. But we do see another play into the bot lane here, playing to their strengths. They have a very aggressive bot lane, and the
Shiloh may have stepped too far forward. This could be dangerous. Flash is available for the Renata. Dredge line into the Killer Instinct, and you might as well save the Flash at this stage. Shiloh should go down, will go down. Miniman gets the kill.
Yep, donated over to Miniman. That's pretty important. Their second kill there for Miniman. This is definitely where you want to be allocating the gold. Accelerate Miniman, and he's going to be a lot of your playmaking ability. Oh, I love
spooky.
you. Potentially going to get run down. Zookeeper doesn't
Ragnarok is available, but yeah, you don't blow it for that, as Body Slam will connect onto Toppy. HSJ actually throws Zookeeper under tower, still holding on to that Ragnarok, throwing those axes down. Shelly does get dropped, and that's what prompted the Emperor's Divide. Braza waiting in the bushes, trying to decide whether or not a play can be had. Shiloh was able to follow the roam, and Scatter of the Weak does so much damage to Braza, who will go down. Chirp picks up another.
Yeah, Braza a little bit too far up there in the middle of the enemy minion wave without much support from his team there. So HSJ going for a little bit, trying to, I think that was a scare tactic. But it was interesting to see Zookeeper actually before, if he had have just ulted against Why Love You there, Why Love You wouldn't have been able to knock him back, and I'm pretty sure he could have run him down without the flash on Why Love You, but doesn't opt to do that, saves it, and I think it's fine. They're in quite a comfortable position here, and they are able to get the Dragon uncontested.
Yeah, this is going to be another great start for QUT, and that's going to be their third of the afternoon right now. This team has been playing so well through the top half of the map and just finding favorable trades, finding picks opportunities. And I feel like a big reason has been the individual mechanics. And I know that's sort of a weird one to highlight in this age, because usually when you think of Strong League Legends, it is the macro, it's the playing as a team, finding the objectives. But they've been able to get their big advantages through these individual mechanical plays, through Chirp, through Kip Kangaroo. Time and time again, they've been doing so well in just making that one ability miss that can turn the tempo of a fight. And that's just been enabling them to snowball right now. You can see the team's still not perfect. I mean, Toppy still has a pretty significant CS advantage in that top side. However, it just feels like everything's been going up QUT. Yeah,
and you have to give some props to the draft as well. You know, facilitating Chirp on this mid laner here. Syndra is one of those champs where you can just diff your lane opponent with if you've got the skill advantage. So giving him the ability to make those plays. And HSJ, I believe he is quite the Azir player, so allowing him to get into that comfort, but punishing it as well. That's how you can sometimes navigate these drafting processes here.
I love the bait play trying to be set up by Miniman. It's not going to work out this time. Miniman is the answer right now, though, for Griffith. If they're going to come back in this game, this Kai'Sa has been slowly getting enabled. And if we compare the individual gold differential, yeah, it's only 500. That's just a component. But that component's going to mean a lot, especially with that third Drake spawning in the next 3 or 4 minutes or so.
Yeah.
If Miniman can keep that lead, that could lead to the team fight where Griffith maybe still able to out-damage QUT, especially if that second item can get completed. And that's where things can get spicy. Chirp is going to get caught by the depth charge, and Braza has to flash defensively. Almost got ASSJ caught in it. Zookeeper will just run straight on through with that Ragnarok. Looking for the second, won't go underneath the second tower. Why Love You goes for the re-engage. Ragnarok ends, and so too does Zookeeper as they go down to Azir. Chirp over the wall! Doesn't quite have the damage for the kill. Still looking for the jungler. Flashes under the tower. Why Love You tries to go back at him. Chirp now quite low. HSJ steps forward. Nearly goes down to Shiloh. But Shiloh takes one too many tower shots and will die. HSJ secures that.
Yeah, he says, it's time for me to get on the board here. And he actually picks up his second kill there. So. Okay.
All right, Kip. Unfortunately, not enough mana for the body slam follow-up.
There
it is. Too little, too late. As Tommy's going for the solo kill. Drops the Hemo Plague. Flashes to stay alive. Kip Kangaroo now should be looking for a re-engage, but the mana is so low. Kip decides better of it.
Yeah, interesting sequence of events there. Kip Kangaroo expecting actually a bit of a dive there, so actually ults to thin out the wave. So interesting play. Nice little knowledge there by Kip Kangaroo in this matchup.
I could watch these two teams play for so long. Like, this is such a fun matchup, QUT versus Griffith, and it's been a fun matchup for the past couple years. But these are like two of the strongest each of these sides have looked, and historically over the past year and a half, I'd say it's been Griffith favored, particularly through the play of Toppy, Braza, Miniman. Like, these three have been doing a great job in sort of carrying Griffith through as one of the better teams, like one of the better university teams within Australia. And I think for QUT, it's exciting to see them get back at that level where they can compete with Griffith. But this Griffith lineup, I mean, they've been playing together for so long, it feels like.
And that's one of the key things is they have such synergy. A lot of times versus Griffith, you know, when we would play last year in scrims and whatnot, maybe we'd be getting these advantages in the early game, but they have so much potential to come back in the game and find these sorts of situations, these team fights out of nowhere, especially with, you know, the TP flanks and whatnot, that they just have such synergy that it's something that you can't really put a finger on. So.
And it's unfortunate that we don't get to highlight it at the EKKA, but Braza on Bard is still, like, I always say he's probably like a top 5 Bard within OCE, but like I can go one step forward and say they're probably my favorite Bard to watch in Oceania, and we don't get to see it today, so I'm a little grumpy at QUT for not allowing that through. But I mean, Braza's roams are usually so on point and so strong that it is something to look out for and something that we should be highlighting. I mean, at the moment, Braza's in mid. Unfortunately, not at top lane where Braza may have been needed because the dive comes through and that's Miniman falling.
Look, that's very uncomfortable. You definitely don't want your Miniman, your ADC all on their lonesome in the side lane, especially against something like a Syndra. It does love one-shotting those ADs, and you got to wonder if there's some miscommunication going on in the lane assignments there. We do talk about the synergy, but HSJ is a bit of a new recruit for Griffith here, so him not being in that side lane doesn't have as much Miniman, doesn't have as much defensive capability and does fall down there.
Ooh, Toppy could be in trouble. Braza and Why Love You are looking for a way to kind of help the top laner out. That was, the Hemo Plague dropped. How much damage is it going to do? Not nearly enough as Miniman gets caught by Renata, but doesn't really do any damage. Either way, Braza was a bit too deep, will go down, and once again, Griffith has to back away. That's going to be the third dragon secured by QUT.
Zookeeper actually falls down just as the Renata W revives him, so unlucky timing there. But Griffith falling down, the QT sacking Drakes, and they're on Soul Point at the moment.
On Soul Point, have themselves a significant gold advantage. This is looking like a QUT showcase once again. where has this early game come from? Because we were talking about it before. QUT, like in scrims in the past, they've always been this late game scaling team, but throughout what we've seen today, that old script has been thrown out. They are now, we're going to attack you early. We're going to be aggressive, and we're going to do it through the top half of the map and through Chirp, who gets a solo kill on the Miniman.
Yep.
I'm going to say it right now. QUT is playing like what Griffith used to play like at this time last year.
Yeah. Look, I think it's all coming down to the mid lane there. Chirp, he's just exerting his dominance and his prowess in the mid lane. He's a challenger level mid laner, and he's able to show it here and sort of carry his team through this early game. And just once you have that sort of a dominance in the mid lane, it just exerts all the way across the map. You get an early mid turret into taking over the enemy jungle, and suddenly everyone feels so constricted. Like you see before, Miniman dying in the top lane there, because that mid lane turret had fallen down, it allows such easy access into the enemy jungle and easy pathing towards those top turrets. So eventually it just means those top turrets are going to fall down with such ease.
Yeah, I mean, this next tower doesn't seem long for the world either, as HSJ is going to try to defend. The one member of Griffith who has yet to fall has been this Azir. Zookeeper is going to try and stop that. The axe will slow him down. Braza connects with the dredge line, but so too came through Emperor's Divide, and it leads to an awkward interaction where Braza is like not able to be as effective as they would like. Zookeeper, though, may have been found out, gets a late shield, but it's not going to be enough. However, Paranoid in the back line. That's not where Sivir typically is. Why Love You realizes that Braza tries to go in and help, but it's too little too late. A double kill for the bot laner, and now Paranoid will escape. What a boomerang blade! A triple for QUT, and that blows this game so wide open.
Yeah, true Australian there with the boomerang throw by Paranoid, getting the kill onto HSJ. HSJ looking for the kill on the back end, but unfortunately could not get it, and just quite disconnected there for Griffith. They have the agency there to fight, but everyone was sort of fighting on different fronts. They need to sort of consolidate together and draft a plan around these team fights to get back in this game.
We are looking at a near 10k gold lead by the time Baron is spawning onto this map right now. If we're to break it down individually, 5 of the 10k is Chirp over HSJ. HSJ has only died once this game, and that was, we just saw it. Like, that was the only death so far. Yet Chirp has been able to find 8 kills throughout the map. Most of them, I feel like, coming to the mid lane is whenever someone has come in to try to help HSJ, Chirp has been able to turn it around and just find a pick right there, here or there. 5 deaths on Braza, 4 on I Love You. This has been more mid dominance, and through that, we're at the stage of the game where QUT can just do this. Press R if you're Zookeeper, Ragnarok, step forward, get kills, walk away. Griffith, they need QUT to make a misstep.
Yeah, they can't even walk into their own jungle at this point. Why Love You without the ult there, I believe, and does fall down. But yeah, like you were saying, Chirp was opening his arms, welcoming to the rest of their team. Oh, we do have Miniman falling down, but Kip Kangaroo is so tanky.
What a flash body slam! Kip Kangaroo gets another one. And no, Emperor's Divide, too little too late. As this is happening, Baron gets started upon. Kip Kangaroo did eventually fall to Toppy, but it comes at the cost of Mr. Nasher.
Yeah, that is that's some shutdown gold there onto who you want as well. If they're going to find a way back into this game, it's got to be through Toppy at this point. He's got to find some way to access the backline, sort of try and one-shot the Chirp and Paranoid, but it's going to be so difficult.
Toppy's still 4k down in comparison to Chirp.
Yeah.
Like, the gold lead is so massive right now in favor of QUT. This is like essentially where I say you're beating your opponents down with the weight of your wallet. The turtle game is now afoot for Griffith. They need to survive, and not for a couple minutes. They need to survive for 10, 15 minutes to get themselves back in this game.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, we have what was a very bold TP actually, but he does get out. Chirp truly saying he doesn't really care. But Toppy without ult, not going to be able to 1v1, you would expect. Oh, we see Shiloh getting catch up.
That's ambitious. Shiloh, though, is caught, and Miniman is able to pick up that kill. If Toppy can get out of this one, it could have been something. Unfortunately, for Griffith, that's not going to be the case. Kip Kangaroo was thought to have been found out until Chirp shows up and says, yes, I'll take a double off Scatter the Weak. Zookeeper gets another one in the river, and that's going to be a Dragon Soul. No,
Ooh,
actually,
turrets.
QUT wants to end the game.
Yeah, I think you got to put Chirp on a nuclear watch list because he's dropping some bombs there. He just blew up everybody's health bar the second that he showed up. Bit scary actually seeing that much damage. Chirp is leading them through, and they are looking to end this with Baron.
Yeah, they're looking to end. 5 seconds left. They have Baron. They might have HSJ as well. First Nexus Tower goes down just as the respawns come alive, and now Griffith need to win this fight. Already taken low as I Love You, but it might not matter. They go in anyways as HSJ tries to do what they can from the back line. Bradson taken solo on the top side. Still tries to find a re-engagement. How is I Love You still standing? Ooh. It's a big fight as Miniman was able to get so many free hits down on that backside. They turn it around. 3 members fall on the side of QUT, and Griffith's heart is still beating.
Yeah, I can't believe that they clutched that out actually. I think at one point they just stopped focusing the Nexus QT, so that's interesting to see. They still want a little bit of playmaking to go on potentially. Chirp's not done getting these damage charts up, so we'll see what they opt to do. Shiloh, if he sticks around here, they might be in a bit of trouble. They are going to be able to get the Hextech Drake for themselves, you would imagine,
Ooh.
which is very key in prolonging this game. We need them not to be able to get that soul point, or Chirp is truly going to be one-shotting everyone.
Though. Oh, is Chirp thinking of going for the steal?
That
would
be
crazy.
Grezzo.
Does make contact, though, as we look for a bit of the re-engage. Renata Glask is going to try to stop any backlines, but the killer instinct from Miniman goes straight on to Chirp, forces them to go golden with the Hourglass, but a follow-up from Brazza helps secure the kill. Dragon, though, was taken by QUT with a re-engage from the backside as Zookeeper goes straight after Brazza. Does not get that kill. Another one picked up for Griffith, but it comes at the expense of their jungler. HSJ may have stuck around a little too long, is able to use their Sand Soldiers to escape, but Kip Kangaroo stays on the hunt. HSJ trying to poke, trying to keep the rest of QUT at bay, but Kip Kangaroo goes over the wall. Emperor's Divide throws him right back, and HSJ will escape with their life.
Okay, all part of the plan. HSJ baits out Paranoid's flash, so yeah, that must have been the plan from the get-go as he walked into melee range of Kip Kangaroo there. But they managed to hold off, but they do give over Soul, which is important. The Hextech Soul is going to be huge here, as we don't see much of a tanky side for Griffith. The Hextech Soul is going to be doing a lot of damage to them.
The one thing that also could be a little bit annoying for Griffith, and Brazza was the one who picked up the shutdown onto Chirp. And that was a big shutdown because Chirp, I mean, obviously you can still get another one, so that's another big chunk of gold that can come through. But had that gold fallen on Miniman, again, that's like about 700, that's a good chunk of back. That could be, you know, another completed item potentially.
Yeah, that was huge. I think, 1K, so.
But I'm not, at the same time, though, that's always like, I always feel like, oh, the support stole the kill. It's kind of a nitpick because at that moment, it's far more important you take Chirp down, right? Either way, I Love You got caught out by Scatter of the Week. That's the jungler gone. That's QUT coming straight down the middle. Explosive Cask almost makes the save, and that's going to result in Kip Kangaroo flashing after it. Brazza gets found as well. Base is open. QUT is here. Hemoplague only collects one as Miniman does what they can from the backside. Only picks up 1 kill on Shiloh, and that will do it. QUT are our SEQ Uni Open champions.
Yeah, well played to them, playing a clean game out there. You know, a little bit of misstep at the Nexus to keep the game going and entertaining for us, but does finish it off in the end.
But it showed the danger that Griffith can possess. You make one misstep, this team will punish you. They are out there for blood, and they always act and try to be that proactive team. And in the past, that is what's worked against QUT. You can kind of out-proactive them, get them a little bit tilted. They would then overextend in response, and you can punish. But since we have last realistically seen this QUT team competing, like if we go back to Semester 1 earlier this year, the mechanical skill of them, I think, has improved greatly. And all of a sudden, we're looking at a team that can just beat you with those mechanics alone, and that is a scary, scary thing to consider.
Yeah, for sure. I think, opting into the Syndra-Azir matchup, you know, they're very happy to take that that matchup for QUT, so they kept opting into it, and Chirp kept showing up with it.
But Chirp's mechanics have always been strong. That's not really who I'm looking at.
Okay.
I'm looking at Zookeeper, and I'm looking at Kip Kangaroo. Those two have improved, I feel like, so much in playing at the competitive level.
Yep.
Now, like, obviously, if you talk to the players, they're like, oh, yeah, they were always this good. It just maybe never translated, on stage or on screen. But now we're seeing it happen in a LAN environment, and it's so exciting to watch out for. So hats off to them. Hats off to this Griffith side as well. Again, they were playing a little substituties in the jungle, so it's kind of curious to see where their true strongest lineup may actually lie. But this Griffith team is no slouches. They've still played super well. They still almost made a comeback despite being very far behind in that game. This was just some high-quality League of Legends.
Yeah, for sure. I think, both teams showing up on the day as well. Both teams showing what they've got. I think Griffith also showing adaptations in the draft phase as well.
Yes.
I think, this game, they acknowledged as well their strong points. They played towards that bot side. Maybe if they had have played a little bit towards that, towards Miniman and played with the Nautilus a little bit more, they could have tried to isolate.
They tried, though.
Yeah.
That's just it. They just couldn't lock down Chirp, and I guess that's going to have to be the story of the day. So once again, a congratulations to all three of our universities that played today. You have to give a little shout out to UQ as well.
They're still in the crowd watching.
They're still watching. They're still hanging out because, at the end of the day, InterVarsity League of Legends, everyone knows each other. Everyone, you'd like to think, respects each other, as we're seeing that on the stage right now. It's all in good fun, but it's also some pretty serious competition, as we did learn. So moving forward, I don't know. When's UQ going to impress me just like these two schools have?
Oh, just wait and see. I mean, we got Div 1 may have got the dub the other day in QT InterVarsity. Div 2 not so much. We may have thrown 6K Goldie, but it happens. You'll definitely see us in the playoffs for Q InterVarsity. Just wait and see. All
right, well, we will see where that one goes. But for now, we are going to be saying good night for the afternoon, evening, and wherever time it happens to be that you're watching along. So go check out the rest of the EKKA. There's going to be a lot of stuff happening. But do remember to come back here tomorrow, because we have one more game to showcase here at XP, and that's going to be Assetto Corsa, some E-Racing. We already have the Sims that you can come and have a try right now. Tomorrow, it's going to be, the big boys, the professionals, the ones who know what they're doing, attacking those and having some exciting races. So that's going to be a lot of fun. I've been Max, joined by Sean here, and we'll see you guys all throughout the EKKA.
We're all looking forward to getting together again at EKKA, where country meets city. EKKA 2022, where we all get together again. Get tickets online now.
Hi, I'm Zoe Rublev with EKKA TV, and today we're at the RNA's prestigious Paddock to Pallet competition at JBS Beef City.
Achievement for us here today. It's a great measure of our genetics and what we're doing there at Yugobar. To come here, and this is a very prestigious event for us, we feel. It's one of the best in the country, and it's a great thing for us just to see that we're keeping up with other fellow breeders in the country, and it's just good to be measured against them and come out with a win today.